across a reel randomly, and it's led me down this weird rabbit hole of people using AI or dressing up pretending to go to school. They all seem to have high heels, check images in them. Is this an age play thing or something more sinister? Literally anything helps as I keep trying to look for answers. This post was made to the subreddit r/Instagram by the user numerouscut792 on April 15th, 2024. It featured screenshots of 3 bizarre-looking Instagram pages they had encountered earlier that day, with OP expressing concern that something truly disturbing was happening with these users. And those in the thread agreed. What the actual fuck? Found all of them and blocked them all. Truthsticks11 is seriously creepy to me. I've been trying to find more about them but can hardly find anything. Very weird account to say the least. The 3 accounts apparently belong to 3 different children. However, when combing through their posts, the content seems to imply something much more bizarre was afoot. Something truly disturbing. This post would be the start of a story that would eventually be...
Okay, so some of the comments. True Sticks and Smart Boy are definitely the same person. You can see the same high-heeled boots. Smart Boy account on the school is nice story highlights. The last post definitely has child unfriendly intent.
Picked up and shared all across the online.
I also found them a couple months ago, and there are more accounts. Stephanie Schooley, Stephanie Stanfield, Schoolgirl Teresa, 290-27942 on TikTok, Facebook Stephanie Not Schooley, YouTube Stephanie Stansfield 1401. They all appear to be the same person from the same editing style. Most have the sort of video that has a voice in the background, same as smartschoolboy9. How'd you find these? And my friend joined me in the investigation. We all found these Instagram accounts through posts and comments on posts from the original accounts, like smartschoolboy9 and True Sticks. The YouTube account, I believe, was mentioned in Stephanie Schooley's Facebook account.
World, becoming one of the more notorious internet mysteries in recent memory, as these accounts revealed an unending rabbit hole that is still being traversed to this very day, in an ongoing investigation into one of the most depraved oddities ever found on Instagram. This is the emerging story of smartschoolboy9.
Also, I do want to bring up that in the comments for this video, and for, reactions to this video, because I did watch a lot of reactions, to kind of gauge how people handled the subject. This is for you guys, so you guys can be aware. But some of them have said there are rumors speculating that the way smartschoolboy9 dresses is indicative of that of a corpse, which is why his tongue is always covering the roof of his mouth and he wears that pale makeup. Also, the creator of Salad Fingers, David Firth, says he remembers this guy appearing around his high school. So that estimates he's been doing this for over 20 years.
1, 2, 3, 4. I hope you like these photos. School is good. Really good.
We'll return after these messages.
Before we get too far down this
rabbit hole, I want to make it very clear that a lot of this stuff is in Uncanny Valley territory because of the way that these photos are edited, the way the makeup is done. It's gonna make you sick to your stomach. If you are eating right now, I need you to come back to this video after you're done. Or put your food away now. Because it's just, this is gonna feel like some analog horror type shit, and it is not. Fair warning. I do not.
This rabbit hole, I want to... Beautiful boy, an account looked after by me, a degree-educated mother choosing to stay anonymous. This was the bio of the first account pictured in the Reddit post, an account named Truthsticks11, which was said to be operated by a 12-year-old boy and his mother. Back in October of 2021, the duo would make their very first post, kicking things off on a somewhat concerning note, though not for their own page, but instead another account on the platform.
So, that's the account run by a man pretending to be a boy.
The video was created and posted by
See, like, the way he's pitching his voice, you can tell that he is trying to kind of process how he words things as well. Like, the breathiness between words and how much spacing there is. He's definitely trying to force that kind of childlike speech.
by the mother for the sole purpose of warning others of a specific user who had been posing as a child online when in actuality he was a grown man who did this in order to get close to and exploit other children across the platform. It's the grim reality of this online world, as predators will do just about anything to get closer to children, and it's a reality.
There are a lot of people who pretend to be kids on Roblox that do a similar account setup to these Instagram accounts, and they will try to e-date actual children. People do this on IMVU too. If y'all remember IMVU and Second Life too. I've been around the internet for a fat minute on these MMOs.
Often unrealized or even ignored by parents, which makes it almost refreshing that this mother was out here trying to raise awareness. These
Shit, and back when the Bakugan MMO was a thing, there was somebody that they admitted that they were overage and was trying to flirt with me, and I shut that shit down real quick.
posts would become the crux of the account early on. They would call out this user and their many accounts again and again, eventually going more in depth about what this person would actually do, claiming that they had a strange perversion to dressing up as a young schoolboy. Does he wish he were a young boy in a school classroom, looking nice and being successful at school? Yes. This theme of calling out online predators would remain consistent throughout the years on Truth Sticks 11. However, after some time, the mother behind the account began to use the page for its initially intended purpose, to share photos of her son. The photos began reasonably normal, and would show this young boy studying at school, accepting awards from their principal, and even school presentations.
You can tell how different this one is. He looks like he's got ET fingers right here. You can see that it's AI generated. His jaw is far too low and chiseled to the rest of his face. And on top of that, like, his eyes are black. It looks like his other hand almost fuses with the railing.
Which their son had attended, with the captions often boasting about how intelligent the young boy was. Though over time, the photos began to grow stranger.
This is the uncanny valley shit I'm talking about. It's weird. It's unsettling. Like, there's no way that you can't be unsettled.
They looked off, almost as if they were AI generated. And on top of this, they began to appear heavily edited in an almost inexplicable manner, with deep red lipstick often being added, which was enunciated by his face being turned pure white.
Also, some of the editing, like, it's reminiscent of, like, MySpace era editing from what I've noticed in this video. It also gives me big Hypnospace Outlaw vibes.
Unsettling trend would continue from here, as with each passing post, the photos grew less authentic and more surreal. Until they became straight up disturbed, even sickening. These bizarre edits spilled over past just the images too, as the posts began to appear.
A lot of these paragraphs that you read seem like they're done by AI as well, but like, it just feels like a bunch of nonsense. And you'll notice these boots. They'll be relevant to the story as it goes on.
As disjointed collages, often showcasing multiple grotesque images and paragraphs about how much this user loved school. And this wasn't the only shift either. At some point, the son behind the account began posting content that allegedly came directly from him, saying things like, "My really cool mom asked me if I'd like to post, and I said, yes please." He even shared supposed videos that he had filmed of himself, which were equally as unconvincing as his photos, and somehow even more chilling.
Yeah, these are fucking creepy, and if you don't think so, you need to reevaluate yourself.
The boy even shows off his singing in one of the clips.
I definitely feel like with these videos, they're either like
though their voice sounds off. The account was overall anomalous and extremely off-putting. And though this content was visually alarming, another aspect made it even more so concerning, as over time, many of the images began to resemble CP, showcasing these fake AI children in explicit positions, with their faces sometimes even being photoshopped onto scantily dressed adult bodies. One thing is blatantly obvious about the Truth Sticks account: the supposed child behind it is not real. Even in the more passable photos at the very beginning, there's evidence to suggest that these were likely AI as well. And based on the disturbed, borderline illegal content that this page featured, it seemed more than likely that whoever was behind this page was not an innocent mother concerned for the welfare of other children, but instead, a predatory individual themselves. And this wasn't their only account. The second page featured on the Reddit post belonged to a user named GirlChloe12 and bore striking similarities to Truth Sticks. The page was also supposedly run by a child and monitored by their parent. Bizarrely, they also posted frequently about the dangers of online predators, with the wording of these posts and the editing being essentially the exact same as Truth Sticks, just not as over the top. These two accounts even frequently interacted with each other, thus providing a substantial link on its own, but by far
if you look at the amount of followers, it's almost exactly the same.
the most compelling link between these pages is one that is easy to miss at a glance, with that being a blatant obsession with high-heeled mini boots.
I do want to talk about this. One of the comments said that there is speculation and rumor that this guy has already murdered somebody, and those boots were what he took from them, which is hence why the obsession. A lot of people think that one of the characters he plays as was a real person and was alive at some point. Now, that's all speculation. That is not true. I want to make that very clear.
These shoes were mentioned or shown in virtually every single post made by these two users. At playtime, I'm sometimes running around with my really cool heeled footwear I wear with my uniform. After coming home from school, education isn't over for the day once the blue blazer, gray jersey, neat.
You see how they're describing the clothing and stuff? Like, it is really intensely hyper detailed, and that raises a red flag for me.
Tie, white shirt, tailored close-fit gray trousers, and black heeled mini boots are in the wardrobe. No matter what they discussed, school uniforms and mini boots were always a talking point, which adds confirmation to something that is already becoming apparent. This is fetish content, not too unlike the bizarre accounts in the Pipergate rabbit hole. Fetish content centered around children. And what makes the Chloe account so disturbing is that AI was seemingly not used, and rather the images seem to be of actual children. Despite this disturbing distinction, these two accounts are cut from the same cloth, and all signs point to them being created by the same person. A person who, despite their constant warnings of the dangers of adults pretending to be children online, seems to be doing the exact same thing.
See, like, you can tell this is AI. Like, look at how the fingers are generated. They almost look like they're broken off at some points, and there are nails missing too. And the thumb looks like it's melding into the hand.
It's part of some sort of fetish, the extent of which we'll discuss later. But for now, one thing was for certain. These pages were not run by children or their parents. So who created them? Well, that brings us to our third and final account shown in that initial post. smartschoolboy9 was much the same as the other two accounts. They warned of online predators, obsessed over high-heeled mini boots and school uniforms, and posed as a child despite clearly not being one. But Smart Schoolboy was different in one key aspect. The person behind the account was pretending to be a child, but they were doing so in a much more apparent manner, as they didn't use AI or stolen images of other kids to form their identity, and instead, they used photos of themselves.
Okay, so excuse the background noise. My boyfriend's playing Black Myth Wukong, but if you look at the way he's got the makeup and everything, uh, you can see that his cheeks are puffed out, his upper teeth are shown, and his tongue sticks out in a very specific way, and it kind of correlates to what people were saying, that he does kind of look like a bloated corpse that either died from asphyxiation or drowning, and so that, like, even if none of this other stuff were true, that is alarming in itself.
In the images posted on the account, we see what appears to be a fully grown man, dressed in a schoolboy's uniform. His face is painted pure white and has bright red lipstick, and he's, of course, wearing high-heeled mini boots. Characteristics that were all utilized across the other accounts, only this time it was done on himself, as he poses as a child pretending to go to school, as well as pretending to go through other life events common for preteens. And the photos aren't even the most disturbing part, as the account consists primarily of videos.
Oh. School. Hey, let me know if you like school as well.
The videos are all incredibly off-putting. Some show him arriving home from school.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. School.
Others show him claiming to be on the bus heading towards school.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm on the school bus.
And other videos showing him doing whatever this is.
I want to give those who have sensory issues an auditory sensory warning, because this shit sounds awful.
With these strange sounds and the process of sticking his tongue out appearing to be part of his fetish.
That shit is disgusting. It sounds disgusting. It looks disgusting. Like, what the fuck is that?
As much like the other accounts, his content is overtly sexual, in its own bizarre way. In fact, there's a video of him with his full outfit on, where he shows himself staring into a mirror as he appears to pleasure himself, right out of view of the camera.
It's gross, man. Why do people do this kind of shit?
As he stares into his own eyes. This account is by far the most sickening part of this whole rabbit hole, and also the most important. Interspersed throughout his page are a few examples of what this individual's voice sounds like.
This is quite good.
Which just so happens to be the same voice heard in the very first clip shown on the Truth Sticks account.
A man pretending to be a boy.
Meaning that this
That same laugh, too. Like, the laugh is identical. Like, he's not fooling anybody with a brain cell.
full-grown adult man is the one behind this entire rabbit hole. He's the one on these accounts pretending to be a child and their mother, getting some sort of sick satisfaction from whatever this is. And the worst part is, these activities aren't just kept behind closed doors. As we can see on numerous occasions, videos of him walking around outside in a public space, with his full outfit and face paint on.
I don't think they were saying you've been a good boy like he claims. I think they were calling his ass out. Like, obviously, if he's going out looking like this, people are going to notice. You can see the face paint wearing off.
Look at me.
It's truly one of the strangest things that I've ever seen, and making sense of what this all is extremely difficult. But based on the information found from this first Reddit post, a few likely conclusions can be put forward. This man is clearly attracted to the idea of being a kid, and I think OP was correct when they speculated that this was some sort of age play thing, but it's also clearly much more than that too, as based on the images that he's created himself, he clearly has some sort of attraction to other children as well, as he
I do want to make the notion here before we continue. Don't interact with this person. Don't contact this person. He is under investigation in the UK. However, in the UK, a lot of predators do not get arrested. They're kind of defended by the UK legal system in some form or fashion. We don't know how far in the investigation they are, and we do not want to dampen them in any way. We don't want to be like Mama Max where we fuck this up.
He's quite literally created faux CP, the likes of which is so disturbing that I can't even really describe it here either. He's creating fetish content, and he's using the likeness of children, and also some children that are clearly very real people, to do so. That much is obvious. But there was also the possibility that he was pretending to be a kid in order to exploit other children across the internet. At this point though, this was merely speculation, with much of the smartschoolboy9 case remaining a mystery, and the rabbit hole was only getting deeper from here. Months after this rabbit hole was introduced to the online world, the story began to be shared all across the internet, most notably on the r/internet mysteries subreddit, where the case really took off. There, internet sleuths began uncovering just how vast this web of accounts actually was, as it wasn't just these 3 pages. No, there seemed to be over a dozen, and likely even more that we still haven't found, as he's created his own sort of community, his own little world, where across each page he pretends.
I don't know how. My thing is, like, I don't know how you can keep up with that many accounts and have them interact with each other and still know, like, which ones are which. 1, 2, all those passwords. 3, just how do you, even if you aren't in this situation, but you, for example, like Twitter RP. In the Twitter RP community, several people have, like, different muses that they portray, different fictional characters they portray. How do you keep up with that in a cohesive manner? I don't understand it. When I used to write, I could only keep up with maybe 3 or 4 at a time, but there are some people that have like 100, 200 different Twitter accounts and muses to write as, and could come up with the most creative stuff. I don't understand it, and in a depraved way, it applies here too. I don't understand how you can keep up with all this.
To be a child, with these accounts typically following each other and frequently interacting, seemingly to make these characters appear as though they have real friends. On one of these pages, 12 Stockwell Joanne, he poses as a 14-year-old girl, using more AI images to depict explicit positions of this manufactured child, which I obviously am not going to show here. Though much like his Chloe account, he also shows images of very real young girls. But this isn't the most concerning part of this account, as on numerous occasions, he's shown images of children at a playground.
This dude is like an actual threat. Like, how the hell are you going to do this kind of shit?
Which he may have taken
They look like they're concerned.
himself. This fantasy of being a schoolgirl and taking part in these school-centric activities is something carried over throughout multiple of his accounts, with his most common alias being Stephanie, of which he has numerous different accounts featuring that same name.
Yeah, I'm Stephanie.
This Stephanie character claims to be a 12-year-old aspiring poet, with accounts all across the internet, many of which showcasing examples of her poetry, which carries on those same distinct sexual undertones. I race to complete my poems when I've got an early start. Heart racing, mixed rhythms, maximizing miracles, rice with rap, and on the map. My Kennington, London syllables. Dancing though I know my underwear might show if I lean forward. Good. Stephanie Stansfield, 12. But digging even deeper, her poetry has even seemingly been featured in various articles and even newspapers.
What I don't understand is, like, even if back then you couldn't, figure out the legitimacy if this person was actually who they say they were, the way they write when they pose as a child is extremely odd. Why wouldn't publishers of these articles and stuff pick up on that?
Showcasing that this rabbit hole extends far past just the online world. This act is clearly their obsession, and he's been doing this for years, with the earliest examples that I could find coming from all the way back in 2018. And this Stephanie character seems to be his go-to alias, embodying it in even the literal sense.
See, this shit is disgusting. This shit is disgusting. Like, it's bad enough with the AI and everything like that, but the Stephanie character, he literally dresses up as, which is probably the most horrifying part.
As in one of his many pages dedicated to this Stephanie character, he dresses as her, wearing a wig and a dress, as he pretends to be a 12-year-old girl.
It's horrific.
Almost immediately after this case began gaining traction, the true magnitude of this rabbit hole was revealed. Across every single account are countless depraved posts and oddities that all could warrant discussion. But by far the most important discoveries were those that didn't actually occur on his own page, and rather the pages of other actual children. Do you like school? I do. It is good. You have some cool shirts, but I have to wear school uniforms to school. It is nice, but casual isn't allowed, and it's quite hot here in the UK, as the month of June suddenly got warmer. These are two examples out of many that show smartschoolboy9 reaching out and attempting to befriend young children online. In one comment, he even warns a child about other comments from bad people, stating that, "It happens to most boys in our age group, but stay safe, stay cool, don't be dismayed by creeps." This is our best evidence that these accounts weren't just made for age play. No, he's actually posing as a child in order to make friends with other children. And given his overtly sexual interests and aversion to CP, it's not hard to gather why he was doing this. And these
it's not hard to figure it out. And a lot of people like this tell on themselves very easily.
Examples are only what we found so far. It's possible that there are dozens, or who knows, maybe even hundreds of other comments out there, hidden on unknown children's accounts. This is predatory behavior. The man behind Schoolboy9 is a predator. And in case there was still any doubt of whether or not this was a sexual thing, here's what he had to say about being a 13-year-old girl.
That's fucking disgusting.
But have his tactics actually worked? Well, the frightening thing is, no one knows if he's actually been successful or not, or even what specifically he's looking for. We just know that he's trying to reach kids, as evidenced not only by his comments, but by the fact that he's solely following children on all of these pages. And though it's easy to look at these accounts and know that something is off, for children, it's not that simple, especially when there's pages showcasing photos of actual kids. Which brings up another frightening detail. Many of the images he's used of children have not been traced back to their original creator, and some seem to appear for the very first time online publicly on this man's pages.
And see, that's horrifying in itself. Normally, at least from what I've seen when I go and cover these rabbit holes, is that a lot of these people will take images that can be reverse image searched back to where they originally belong. But since these don't have a reverse image search, that shows that he's an active threat towards people in his area.
Which might mean that he was sent them privately. There's even one image that David posted on his schoolboy account, which shows another kid that he claimed to be on a playdate with, though it's impossible to say if this is real or not. For now, we just don't know for sure. Though given the fact that he's reaching out to children, posting fetish content centered around children, and has even potentially photographed kids in the wild, one thing is for certain: smartschoolboy9 needs to be stopped. Finding this man and reporting him to law enforcement quickly became the top priority for those investigating the case. And luckily, he left several glaring clues behind that made this process a whole lot easier. On numerous occasions across his many pages, he would post images and videos of specific locations, even showing streets and mentioning very particular areas in his poems, all of which centered around the London area. Immediately,
There's been mention of Streatham in the article that we were just talking about, the poem that was sent back in the day by the Stephanie character. So yeah, he definitely seems to be in this area, and y'all need to be safe if you live in this part of London.
giving us an idea of where he was located. And that wasn't all. I mentioned how the alias of Stephanie was one that he used more so than any other, but what's interesting is that there was another name used just as often across his accounts, brought up time and time again, though it's a name that he never seemed to call any of his characters. Instead, he simply referred to this person as a stepbrother, or a father, or even a friend from school, despite never actually picturing him, just mentioning his name. David. And sure enough, after connecting a few dots, it would be revealed that this person's actual name was in fact David. David Alter, with a man being 59 years old.
When I found out he was 59, I was fucking horrified. I was expecting 30, maybe late 30s, but this man literally could have been a grandfather at some point.
At the moment, it doesn't appear that David has any past criminal convictions or documented history of this behavior, but we do know that thanks to the investigation done on Reddit and Discord, he is currently being investigated by local authorities, which will hopefully put an end to his online behavior and shine some more light on who this person actually is. As for the time being, the only other information that we really know about David is that he likes to write poetry and he makes music.
This is another sensory auditory warning. This sounds like noisecore, honestly.
It's Mary Ann, the ceiling fan. I think I hear a running tram. Going back in time, not out of time. I think I like a little lemon and lime. Say Mary Ann, hey Steely Dan. I like the sound of that running tram.
Fucking horrific.
And his name also appears in a random newspaper, where he's discussing the importance of kids wearing school uniforms.
Okay. Yeah. It also looks like this is how he was writing in his, account posts. But it just looks like he's trying to go for the uh the school uniform fetish, because he does talk about the attraction in school uniforms.
And that's really all we have at the moment. Though there is one very important aspect that we have yet to talk about in relation to this man, with that being David's mental state. Some believe that David is a mentally unwell individual who potentially doesn't know the extent of what they are doing. Now, even if this is the case, his behavior still needs to be stopped, and he needs to be given proper help to assure that no one else gets hurt by his actions. But it is important to note that David is far more intelligent than he lets on, as his personal accounts show us that he is fairly well spoken and articulate. And throughout his problematic content, most of his bad grammar and strange verbiage seems to be his attempts at more authentically trying to replicate a child. But it's impossible to know for sure. But what we do know is that David is extremely manipulative, with his response to the situation and other clues littered across his accounts showing us that he seems to know what he's doing, and he knows that it's wrong. Since the exposure of David's accounts, he hasn't silently slithered away like most other predators would. Instead, he's actually responded on more than a few occasions.
So somebody went and called him out, and he decided to call them a predator for calling him out.
Lashing out to those who have DM'd him, calling them the perverts and predators. He even left a comment on his Joanne account seemingly directed at himself, writing, You are really sad. And if that's your name, David, be honest with yourself. You're 50, as you said elsewhere. You reply to me, a girl, as if I'm your buddy? No chance ever. This is something David does all the time. It's projection. And it started all the way back at the beginning of this rabbit hole.
So, that's the account run by a man pretending to be a boy.
And he continued posting these predator exposés, along with other warnings about predators on the internet across every page he made, each of which being hyper-specific to his own predatory ways and fetishes. The things he accuses others of are blatant projections of his own dark vices. And I can think of...
Yeah, and that's what I mean by they tell on themselves. It's not just him. There have been plenty who tell on themselves like this.
Of two reasons why. Number one, that this makes his account look safer to other parents and children. It gives the appearance that he's not another internet creep because he's actively calling them out. It's a way to build trust in order to befriend and exploit kids. And number two, he knows what he's doing is wrong, and this is his bizarre way of self-reporting, probably to make himself feel better about what he's doing. And it's obvious based on just how accurate these claims against others are to him. Does he wish he were a young boy in a school classroom, looking nice and being successful at school? Yes. And these claims are made over and over again, as each time he calls someone out, he's further exposing himself, which becomes more concerning when you realize that these projections seemingly aren't strictly pedophilic. Within those eerily familiar expose posts he made on TruthSticks11, he mentions how this user not only wanted to exploit children online, but they wanted to kill them as well.
And this is where it gets really... Like, if you thought it was bad now, the fact that he's going into such hyper-specific detail about cannibalism and ritual sacrifice makes this even worse.
As he mentions that this user has a clear interest in cannibalizing kids, and even performing ritualistic sacrifices on them. And based on how accurate all of the other exposures are to himself, I have no reason to believe that this isn't part of his MO as well, as crazy as that may sound. This also seems to coincide with some of the content he's posted that I can't show you, as some of these photos show children edited in contorted positions, including some where he's added what appears to be rope to give the illusion that they're tied up. And what makes this even more disturbing is that on his accounts, he's posted numerous photos in the vicinity of schools, on nearby
1 block away from the school. And this is a trail.
Included trails, and even some where he discusses what time school starts and ends, saying that he likes to be awake and ready for it. There's even photos that show other children outside from a distance, almost as if David was stalking them. This is highly concerning. Even if we don't know truly how low this man's perversions get, he is still far too close to children, which is perfectly encapsulated by this photo of him on a school playground during the day. And with his disturbing desires, I don't even want to imagine what he's capable of. Which brings us to the final piece of content that I need to talk about. Chase.
This is probably going to be the most stomach churning because it shows what he is actively doing as we speak. Like, the other stuff was just him by himself, or like photographs of children in the wild. This gets pretty bad.
Facing another boy running in heeled mini boots. This was the text shown on screen during a short video posted onto one of David's many accounts. And in the video, we see the man pointing the camera at himself, showing his full face of white makeup and red lipstick. This video is edited more egregiously than any others I've seen across his page, with multiple explicit images and huge emojis covering the majority of the screen. Though just barely enough of the footage can be seen that shows David as he turns the camera around, revealing a young boy. Who he then proceeds to chase after, giggling.
God, if this dude were in my neighborhood, I would clock him. I'm sorry, I would. I'd get in trouble, I know, but I would clock him so quick.
All the while. Whether this was an edited video or a real occurrence, we don't currently know. David's doings are a mystery that will take some time to unravel, and my hope is that law enforcement will be able to follow through and help shed some more light on this individual, and finally put an end to his twisted behavior. But at this point, only one thing is for sure. The story of Smart Schoolboy 9 is far from over.
All information shown in this video has been archived and sent to law enforcement who have been investigating this case for the past few weeks. Please do not attempt to contact David, as that may interfere with their investigation. Alright, so we've gone over the Nick Crowley video. I'm probably going to go over part of Turkey Tom's video too, because he did interview somebody who's been working on a hit piece for about a month as well. But we're going to go to the Tub video because it's a couple of days older than the Nick Crowley video. And it sheds some... he doesn't like doing these kinds of videos, but he feels like it needs to be said, so we're going to go ahead and get into it.
So,
I don't know why they have to include the tongue noises every time.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about some extremely disturbing Instagram accounts, and when I say disturbing, I mean that with every ounce of the word. So first, I'd like to give credit to you guys for informing me about this topic, and also to the people who have been investigating this for months on subreddits r/smartschoolboy9, r/internet mysteries, and the YouTube channel who made a concise video about it as far as the corners. Links to all of that will be in the description. Before we hop onto the topic, I do want to let you guys know that there's like only 100 of the Tub plushies left in stock as I'm recording this. There's probably a lot less, or maybe even sold out by the time you guys are seeing this, but if you add him to your cart, you get 20% off anything on the store. A lot of these shirts have already been sold out in specific sizes. You guys can go check if there's anything in your size. Just wanted to get that out of the way before we start the actual
I might check out as far as the corner too, just so I have my bases covered.
topic. So anyway, what exactly are we diving into today? Well, why don't I just show you some screenshots and screen recordings, as I don't think my explanation would do this justice.
I don't. I'm here. Look. I'm sitting here, filming. Hi, guys.
The thing is, there are other people in this classroom. Why are people not paying attention to the fact that he is in here?
Look. I'm here at school.
Yeah, that's what we're looking into. And I propose some questions I hope will be answered by the end of today. Let's see what those questions are. 1. Who is running this/these accounts? 2. What is their purpose? 3. Where are they located? 4. Have they retaliated? 5. Have authorities been involved? And unlike my other videos, I'm going to go ahead and spoil that last one. And yes, authorities have allegedly been involved. I say this because I don't want any of you guys contacting or emailing the schools or authorities in that
The schools already know, let's just be honest.
location, because they're already dealing with this. I'm just making a video on the story. That's basically it. Seriously, do not contact anyone I mentioned in this video. Just don't do it. So why am I making a video on this topic if it's already over? Well, first of all, I don't know if we'll ever truly know if this is over with this account, because the authorities are going to handle it privately. So they're not going to post on IG, you know, like, oh, we got him, guys. Like, this is just private with the authorities. And I figured I've talked about the dangers of the Kick app and the TikTok app a lot of times. So it only makes sense.
I remember the days of Kick. I remember before it became a huge predator and hooker hole.
To talk about something that happens right under our noses on Instagram. And if I'm being honest, whenever you guys email me or DM me video ideas, I feel a little bit more obligated to speak on them. I just specifically don't like talking about PDF files, which is why I focus on other topics. Okay, that's enough for the introduction. Let's start talking about what seems to be the main account. First thing I want to say is that all but one of these accounts have been taken down or deactivated, so I will be using other people's screenshots and...
Well, we can't say all but one, because when he exposed his other account, Abdullah Shakir, on Truth Sticks, He said that there are about 34. So unless all 34 have been found and taken down, we don't know. There could be hundreds more.
Screen recordings. So upon viewing this account's post, you come across what seems to be a grown man with harsh makeup, prosthetic teeth, a school uniform, and really harsh editing. I'm talking like Shay St. John type of editing. Almost feels like a drug trip, so I'm gonna be referring this type of editing to acid editing. That's not where the oddities end, however, and if you take a look at their captions, they're really playing into this child persona. On a wobbling bus to go home after a really good day at school and projects until late. I'm the only child on the bus. Clips of me arriving home after school, hurrying to the school bus early in the morning for projects and at school. The Monday evening children's club I go to is really good. I go there sometimes directly after school, and in this video, the first clip is where I'm nearly home, and then there's a second clip where I've just come home. The account's bio reads, primary school achiever, mixed race and mastering millions of subjects, eventually. Account monitored by mom. So yeah, it's clear the person behind this account is role-playing as a kid. Not only that, but the account owner would also blatantly post pictures of kids in swimsuits or showing a lot of skin. I know that's
Yeah, we thank you, Tov. We don't need to see that.
already disgusting, but they even posted their supposed friends, which again are just pictures of children. Ages come up a lot, like the emphasis of, hey, whoever stumbled upon my page, I'm 9, by the way. I just want to keep repeating that. I'm 9. My friends are also 9 and 10. Adding onto the images of kids, they've also posted acid edits of these kids, with smoothed out faces, red lips, and huge smiles. Here at my school, I've been paired with Wilfred, and how cool too, as we're quite good at environmental studies and loads of indoor studies in the new Achievers classroom. It also seems school
It's so weird. You can see that, like, if the stature didn't give away that this was a grown ass man, the fucking comb over does.
boy has some sort of fetish for being sticky and mini boots and heels. I'll talk more about the heels later because in this account it's only mini boots. There's even some videos of what seem to be him pleasuring himself, which I'm gonna heavily censor. I'm not yet in year 7 at school, but I look smarter than some other boys in year 7. The year 7 age being 11 to 12, and he's saying he may look 11 to 12, but he's not. He's in fact 9. Now let's take a look at how he responds to people that have called him out. I'm gonna assume this screenshot is from a random kid's post, and Schoolboy9 just so happened to comment on that, and someone found it and replied to him. You have some cool shirts, but I have to wear a school uniform to school. It is nice.
He literally, the person that he's texting is, your account is fucking terrifying. Please delete it. And he just acts like, he's not even paying attention to that.
But casual isn't allowed, and it is quite hot here in the UK as the month of June suddenly got warmer. Someone responds and says, your account is fucking terrifying, please delete it. They respond with, username, which I'm gonna block out, is one of the many following child accounts. Obviously, he's jealous and thinks it's clever to have a shitty profile pic and no posts or private so that he can send abuse to kids. I've modeled cool clothes and have a great life. What? This dude is pulling the classic, I know you are, but what am I? It's
Yeah, he did. He's like, oh, you're a pervert because you think my account is terrifying.
seems like a really weird defense mechanism where like he just brought this up out of nowhere. No one had mentioned that, but now he's using reverse psychology. I don't know. Horrible response. And here I'm about to read screenshots of someone that DM'd him and was able to get responses from him. So I'm about to read that log right now. Where it says replied to you, I'm gonna guess the person that posted this posted a screenshot of a Reddit thread. That's what it looks like here. And then smartschoolboy9 responded, haha, that's you making it all up because you're sick with jealousy. Go get a job. You're gonna get caught. Amateur ass crap that you invented to intimidate. Ain't gonna manipulate me. You crazy old duffer. Get a job. You're gonna get caught. Quit texting me. I'm underage. You're wanking as you text.
So projective. Like, you could see right through it.
Literally evidence you are a grown-ass man pretending to be a child to lure children. There's, I'm gonna assume, no investigation other than what your neighbors know about you. You have 3 separate accounts that you use to comment on your main account, both with similar faces as yours. You're a grown man, maybe looking for sex. You're literally so brain dead. I have 1 account, you tosser. Brain dead, but in children's ads. You have to be a child with ID for ads. I think they're talking about like having ads on your account and that you have to be 18 or older, but you can just lie about that. I'm just as confused as you are. I couldn't find
I'm so confused. So they got greedy and decided to kill it? Oh my god. That's awful.
Find screenshot 3. If you see the top right, it says 4 out of 5. Couldn't find that one, so we'll just continue. You are not 10. F off. I'm 10. There's boys much taller my age in Kenya. You clearly have some sort of prosthetics on your face. The whole internet can see, goofy. It's my
Yeah, like we know. We know that you're putting makeup on your face using AI and wearing a mask. Like,
natural face, you sick. Stop scraping barrel for excuses, you fucking weirdo. Quit playing like you're dumb. There's already an investigation being done. You're obviously some dirty old you're texting a kid. That's really ironic. You're a grown-ass man pretending to be a young boy into scary stuff. You fucking not. That says Merry Christmas, dimwit. You fucker. You're a talk about self-snitching. Eventually, after people began finding his account, he posted this. I don't know if it was his ultimate last account, but it was one of the last things he posted. It reads, ignoring jealous comments from people. I think they wish they could wear my school uniform. Some seem to think that just because I've grown so quickly in school year 5, they comment as if they know me or am in their age group. It happens to loads of other children. School is nice. And then
it's awful. Like, bro, we can see right through you.
he supposedly deactivated his Instagram account. We'll get into why I say supposedly later. So where is he based? I mean, he said it himself. He said UK, but through some of the videos where he's outside, the slang he uses, and the uniform, people have found out he's from Ponce, England, which of course is in the UK. And yes, the school in question has been contacted, so please don't bombard them with emails. A user even said they responded and that they, quote, said he doesn't attend or live in that area. No one knows his current location. Now, do I have an exact screenshot of them responding? I sadly do not.
Well, still, it's good to know that the schools have been contacted.
Never mind, I do. This is someone else's screenshot. And yeah, they're getting a little bit of backlash because a lot of people on the subreddit are like, stop contacting them. They get the memo, you know? So to my viewers as well, do not contact them. I'm just showing you guys proof that the school is a...
Same. Don't contact the schools. Leave it for the investigators and for law enforcement.
Where? Let's move on. So why did I dedicate a portion of this video to smartschoolboy9 and the other section to other Instagram accounts? Well, it's believed schoolboy9 owns all of these accounts. Or I should say owned. Like I said, this is past tense. These accounts are taken down, except for one of them, but it's inactive. The accounts we'll briefly be looking over are Stephanie Schooley, truth_sticks11, and miles.s95. Let's start with Stephanie Schooley, who allegedly was being followed by the schoolboy account, and that's how people found it. Age 13. Okay, has to blatantly say the age. London, Monaco, and Greece. So this account went on to actually say something about schoolboy's deactivation. Temporary post. Thank you to those who've asked me if one of my school age friends is okay. His parents were advised professionally for the boy's safety to deactivate his account, and he is happy to comply with that. He'd been bullied online by jealous people. Then randomly they say, Saturday means church, and it is important for church children to look smart. So yeah, it's looking to be an alt of some sort. Now the deactivation thing. I don't really know if he actually deactivated, because what are the chances that he got taken down and then just put...
He probably got taken down and uses other alts. Like I said, when he hyper projects on himself so much that he even listed that there's a minimum of 34 accounts.
Put up a front that he was deactivated because he didn't want it to seem like the haters got his page taken down. Unless there's some sort of like, you know when someone blocks you and it says user not found? Unless there's some sort of thing that lets you know this user was banned or this user self-deactivated, but I don't think that's a thing. Anyway, this account also posts a revealing location, that also being in the United Kingdom. This account also seems to have a boot fetish. Oh, excuse me, a heel fetish. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my 2 cents in. I think these boots and heels are codes for the PDF files to find each other in this ring. I mean, they're really random, and yes, I do agree that there are...
I mean, if they're not all the same people, there are at least other ones here. So, I mean, yeah. But a good majority of them are the same person. Hold on 1 second, chat.
That's one of these people's fetishes, but they're really random. So I'm gonna assume it's just a code for them to see a boot or a heel and be like, yep, we hit the right place. That's what I'm assuming. As for the content, you guessed it. A bunch of acid edits of kids almost AI looking. And yup, age is always involved. They always gotta emphasize it. This is definitely to give the PDF files a sense of their role playing is actually real. Whoa, they posted that they're 13. I'm gonna do something really disgusting behind the screen. But they said they're 13, so they gotta be 13. It's not a man dressed up as a kid. Definitely not. I'm gonna trick my brain into thinking that they're 13. I'm gonna assume that's probably what they're doing. So people
In like the most basic and degenerate and primitive way, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
found accounts that seem to belong to this Stephanie persona. On the Twitter, there's a video with a voice in it claiming to be Stephanie, and yep, that's literally Schoolboy's voice.
I'm Stephanie Stansfield, 13. I'm on school holiday. I hope you're well, also. I don't. I'm here. Look. I'm sitting here, filming.
It looks like they made another video with some sort of voice mod, but it's not convincing at all.
Hi there. I'm Stephanie. Enjoying the holiday.
What I really found interesting
Yeah, no, that doesn't make it any less blatant.
though is that Stephanie Stansfield might actually be a real person, which gives me the creeps. I mean, this book seems to be engraved with that name on it, and the school assignment about color is signed by Stephanie Stansfield, and the age is changed with the number 13. I'm just as grossed out and concerned as you are. Now, people have found a Facebook with the same name and a YouTube channel. On the channel, it has a playlist with 2 videos. Under one of them, the one named 1995 Brixton at Night, they leave a comment. Almost 3/4 into the video, filmed at ground level, a girl aged 12 or so is walking around without any props whatsoever and heeled school shoes. So it isn't odd that many schools banned heels. It's just not right. Thankfully, the independent school for girls that I attend allows heels. Truth_sticks11 is another account I can't leave out when covering this topic. The bio reads, beautiful boy, an account looked after by me. A degree-educated mother choosing to stay anonymous. Good original written work, advice.
Also, I want to make it clear, no Instagram account that is monitored by a parent would have the parent remain anonymous. That's just not how that works.
And compassion. I've never seen anyone claim they are degree educated. Like, bro, just say what degree you earned. Oh wait, this is just schoolboy pretending to be someone, isn't it? Yes. Now this account is an anomaly in itself. It seems to have begun as an anti-PDF file page that would expose accounts and say things like, beware of this account who is posing as a child. But if we take a listen to that voice in that audio.
So, that's the account run by a man pretending to be a boy.
Yup,
That laugh is almost identical in all 3 accounts.
it's him again. Now, I have no idea why the account began as an anti-PDF file page and then eventually became an acid edit page. I'm gonna assume it's to throw people off. Something along the lines of, what, me? No, I prevent this type of stuff from happening. I mean, just look at my other account. Again, I have no clue, like a step ahead of the game type. I don't know, this is just a theory. I have no idea. Now, there also is another inactive account, which actually is still up by the time I'm making this video, and that's miles.s95, and it just seems to be like another alt of smartschoolboy9, a very unused one, but it's pretty creepy. Again, I don't suggest messing with it. I don't suggest commenting stuff like, we're gonna get you, dude. Like, dude, no, like, I don't suggest commenting that. Don't do it. Now, even beyond this, there are more accounts I'm not gonna get into because they're all the same thing. It's on some role play with creepy edits, and that's really it. As far as like
it's the same shtick.
them talking to kids or having victims, I really haven't seen anything of that, but obviously there is something weird going on here. I don't even think weird is the proper word. It's disgusting and disturbing. So, what's the update? Well, I'm afraid there aren't any public ones at the moment. So no, there's no report of this dude in handcuffs. I have heard a lot of rumors on the Reddits, like it's just nothing with proof. But according to the rumors, this person has already been doxxed. And I heard another rumor that like there's a report on the guy and that he's already served some time for some other stuff he did, yes, involving children. But again, there's no proof to that. And one of the subreddits.
Yeah, there's no substantiation. That's why I always say it's rumored or it's alleged. The David Firth one, I believe, is confirmed via either Instagram or YouTube. It's either Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter. But that one's kind of been confirmed. That's like the only one that we can really substantiate right now.
It's just went private. But I guess the biggest update to this would be that information has properly been given to the local authorities. Now, let's go back to our questions and see if we can answer them with this new information. Who is running these accounts? Seems to all be Schoolboy9, but we can't be too sure, except for the ones with the voices. That's gotta be him. 2. What is their purpose? PDF file related for sure. 3. Where are they located? Seems to be United Kingdom. 4. Have they retaliated? If you want to count them making comments and posting stories, acknowledging the hate, then sure. Other than that, no. At least not that we know of. 5. Have authorities been involved? Yes, but please don't go out of your way to disrupt that. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. If you
Alright, so that was Tuv's video on it. And then we're going to look at Nexpo's video on it. Okay. You'll have to excuse me. I work overnights, so I'm very tired. Nope. Alright. Here we go. Welcome back to Nexpo. I got in trouble for the end credits audio playing in Hellblade 2, so I'm trying to avoid any intros. Okay. We should be here now.
A bridge collapses in China. Twisters makes its worldwide debut. And over in one of Reddit's darkest corners, a peculiar mystery awaits. A user named Maria has just uncovered a series of Instagram accounts, all equally unsettling, uncanny, and terrifying.
Yep.
I came across a post on r/Instagram where someone mentioned these creepy Instagram accounts of people who are seemingly pretending to be kids. It reminds me of Pipergate in a way, and I feel like all of these pages are run by the same person because of the horrendous editing style that makes my eyes bleed. Many of the photos on this account are an edit of this goofy face on a real person's body, and a lot of the bodies are in suggestive poses, which makes me think this is a definite fetish account.
I mean, I don't want to bring out the obvious Nexpo, and I know that this is an expose for the people who don't know, but that's an understatement, my guy.
Is this just a really weird hobby? It seems like the poster's first language is French, and many of the posts are just generally weird and hard to understand. I'm curious what you guys think about this.
These are fucking creepy. Like, seeing the actual layouts is fucking creepy.
With Maria's post are photos from 3 accounts, all exhibiting highly similar behavior. Truthsticks11, Stephanie Schooley, and smartschoolboy9. At a cursory glance, it's clear that all of these are connected. They all incorporate images of children edited in a way.
Excuse me, chat. I gotta get my dreadlock cap on. So if you see my model moving around weird, it's because I'm trying to get my hair to straighten out and get it off my neck. I just washed it and put beeswax in it, so.
Way in which their faces rest in the trenches of the uncanny valley. They all exhibit heavy synthetic makeup, have massive lips. Their heads are disproportionate. The saturation seems to be cranked up. All of these rest at the precipice of visual overload and absolute depravity. Walls of text are thrown in our face about school, friends, things they're interested in, entire facets of their lives. But it's clear that these quote-unquote children, as they're presented, do not even exist.
Yeah, it's so. It definitely looks like something you'd see on like a very weird horror page on MySpace. Like, yeah, we got samples of it in the other 2 videos, but like actually looking at multiple different layouts and edits, it's just like, man. Down, down, down again.
It goes without saying that we've seen this type of behavior before. People online trying their hand at creating an ARG in hopes of generating online attention and viral clicks.
Yeah, I remember the Eratus mystery. I also remember the This Man mystery. Have you seen this man? And it was a guy that actually didn't exist, but everybody kept seeing him in their dreams.
But even still, I wonder, is this what we're dealing with here? On the account Truthsticks11, many of the early posts carry a considerable amount of irony. Their uploads take an almost condescending tone, lambasting the rise of online predators, following and commenting on the profiles of young boys. They take on this alias of an overly concerned parent and make post after post after post, sharing advice about potential danger online.
It's still so weird how that he's able to get into these schools without being noticed.
In many ways, this contradicts everything we've seen so far in our limited investigation. This doesn't exactly add up, especially considering that just a few months later and completely out of nowhere, Truthsticks begins to exhibit the very behavior they're criticizing. From March 2022 and onward, they morph from a concerned parent on a mission against online predators to displaying images of their supposed son in compromising positions, sharing a myriad of highly disturbing photo edits, and even begin to follow a handful of accounts that immediately set off red flags.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Truthsticks11's erratic behavior appears like one massive self-report. Someone on a tirade against the very thing they turned out to be, or perhaps have been all along. None of this made any sort of sense, leading many to speculate that, while yes, this is insanely creepy, is any of it real? What in the actual fuck?
Oh, I was not. I've never heard Nexpo cuss on an actual documentary like this in such a blatant fashion. I've never heard him say "what in the actual fuck" on one of these rabbit hole videos. I almost, I almost lost it for a minute.
Really fucking weird. Not really sure the reason behind it. Maybe to groom kids or something, but it's really odd. This is probably the most disturbing thing ever uncovered on this subreddit. I asked the other day if anything actually sinister has ever been on here, but now I have my answer. I'm very glad that this sick person is getting exposed. If there's any exploitation material on their account, like some have been saying, nobody here should hesitate to report it to the police. Understandably, this post blew up. People left and right poured in, eager to find out who was doing this and why. It took hardly any time at all for Redditors to uncover other accounts in the same vein too, as Truthsticks and Schoolboy were far from the only ones involved here. As it turned out, there was a Schoolgirl Teresa, New Girl 12, a Stephanie Stansfield, and a trove of others, all spread out across various social
Jesus. There's so many. There's more than people have really been talking about.
platforms. By outward appearances, and with so many accounts involved, this almost looks like it's being done by a group. I mean, it has to be. They talk to each other, like each other's photos. There's no way this schoolboy dude has enough time to run all of these, especially for something like an ARG, right? Well, not exactly. You see, Schoolboy, across all of his accounts, has a very, very strange way of putting on various personas. And on nearly every single video,
That was fucking weird.
Before this video entered production, the profile of smartschoolboy9, the centerpiece of this story, one of the only accounts with original, uploaded videos by a discernible person, was taken down. It's unclear if this was done because of policy violations or if he's scrubbing his online presence, but as it stands, this one is gone. That's not to say that there aren't archives though, so pardon the potato quality.
Well, thank you for letting us know, Nexpo.
On the smartschoolboy9 account, we can find a plethora of images and video of what appears to be a man dressed up in a school uniform. We can see him outside on walks, getting ready for school, and showing off his mini boots that he has a very strong fascination with. It goes without saying that this person is nowhere near the age of a child, despite his efforts to appear that way. On nearly all of his captions, he talks about his life in school, his experiences with other boys, reportedly also aged 8, 9, and 10, and even appears to gain access to classrooms on multiple occasions. So far, this behavior is incredibly weird and repulsive.
That's an understatement.
However, these videos aren't outright illegal. Because of this, and combined with the activity on Truthsticks, some have passed this entire thing off as nothing but a massive LARP. Someone with far too much free time on their hands, and with very, very weird fixations. But after diving into this a bit more, though, I've found that that isn't quite the case. There's something I gotta show you.
Nexpo, you worry me when you say shit like that. I don't know what he's about to show, but there might be a sensory warning. There might be, epilepsy warning. Whatever warning there is, I'm letting you know that there's probably a warning.
We'll return after these messages.
Alright guys, before we get to that, I'd like to tell you about tonight's video sponsor.
Okay. WAD. Gonna just go to the actual code, so I'm still supporting without feeling like I'm being an asshole.
VPN, and it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Once
There you go. Let's get back into this. Nextmo doesn't handle this like Mama Max does, so we should be good not to have a lot of chaos or anything like that. But just keep that in mind.
in the current online discussion, there hasn't been much said about the account Stephanie Stansfield. However, interestingly, it's one of Schoolboy's earliest and arguably most disturbing. Dating back to 2019, this man took on a persona called Stephanie. Since the creation of this page, he's gone forth to make a Twitter account, a Facebook page, and even numerous other Instagram handles, all under this alias. While he gives
And a YouTube channel.
his other pages a considerable amount of attention, he, for some reason, took a strange liking to this one in particular. All across Stephanie's profiles, he can be seen dressing as her, discussing their experience in grade school, and, weirdest of all, in a twist that comes as no surprise, the man behind this rabbit hole expresses a fantasy. And in our hands, we effectively have another Pipergate. Daily Capper, Stephanie Stansfield.
In the past at college, I've struggled.
Jesus. So sick of these ads, bro.
Hi.
From Stephanie Stansfield. Me and Morfoot, Milton Keynes, MK11, dressed for school. I really love it in year 7, and I love writing poetry. My Morfoot music heart, I race to complete my poems when I've got an early start. Heart racing, mixed race rhythms, maximizing miracles. Rice with rap on the map, my Kennington, London syllables. Dancing though I know my underwear might show if I lean forward. Good. Aside from the repulsive celebration of being able to spot a child's underwear, Stephanie makes a reference to Milton Keynes, a region just north of London in the UK. This, combined with various other media he shared, quickly led onlookers to realize that this man has been making his rounds across the city of London for years.
Jesus. He ousted where he's been making his rounds.
Also in this post are clear references to poetry, something we'll find to come up later. Upon searching for the name Stephanie Stansfield on Google, we're able to find traces of this person in the wild. For instance, hidden on a random page of the Kennington Runoff, a news website serving the titular neighborhood in South London, we can see Stephanie chiming in on an article about a youth club. Here, though, their mannerisms surprisingly appear a bit tamer. Are there any unusual or rare pictures including landing areas, lifts, etc. of Caring Point? The tower block that stood at Hotspur Street from 1969 to 2000? I learned what happened to Caring Point, but have yet to find any demolition pictures, even on the 20th anniversary of its demolition, or pictures of the play space that temporarily replaced the building. Thank you for any research into Caring Point. If we had no prior context to this person, this comment would exist in complete normalcy. In a way, it's almost like this person isn't even the Stephanie Stansfield that we've come to know so far. The one show.
This is where I was suspecting that Stephanie was like a real person at some point in time. There are rumors that she was, but like when you go back to things like this further back than uh the earliest posts, which were like 2018, the earliest suspected posts, I mean, it makes me wonder about the rumor that those boots were Stephanie's.
Showcasing eerie edits, pretending to be a child, creating riddles and poetry. It's like that persona's gone. You know, part of me wants to believe that this person has no ties to the rabbit hole, but even here, I noticed that they just couldn't help themselves. Stephanie Stansfield inquired about a play area, a place obviously associated with kids. Doing any research online about this alleged play place leads to nothing. It existed for such a short period of time that hardly anyone recalls that it was even there. It was a blip in history, so insignificant and overshadowed by the disaster that came before it that it's hardly worth mentioning. Yet Stephanie recalls it to such a degree that they've been on the hunt for any pictures of it. This also seems like even as far back as the year 2000, this person was hanging around play areas, leading me to wonder, was he up to his same antics back then, or is this act fairly recent? Also on the internet is another link, this time leading us to a PDF file of a 2018 publication by a London charity called the Streatham Society. Within this, they share a myriad of news and happenings around this area of London. However, on page 11, they include a segment called the Poetry Corner, in which we can spot a very familiar name.
Yeah, this is what we had discussed on the Nick Crowley video. This was on the Nick Crowley video.
Hi to the Streatham Society, I'm Stephanie Stansfield and shy. I'm 12 years of age, year 7. I'm London born and lived in Streatham for a while. I've written a poem. I asked my half-brother what he remembers about the area. Then I put my thoughts onto paper. I could have written much more, but I wanted to keep it short, and yet still include a little tribute to June Whitfield. So it's as if I've traveled through time to include so much. I hope my poem is of some use. Yours sincerely, Stephanie. After glancing at her writing, it's abundantly clear that this poem was not written by a 12-year-old. It shares details of buildings that were there in the 1990s, as well as references to TV actors that would be not only unrealistic for a child to remember, but impossible. But even through this mess, there is something to latch onto. In the poem, Stephanie refers to someone who has supposedly fed her this information about his life growing up in London decades prior. It's her half-brother, someone who's old enough to remember all of this. It's someone called David.
Back on Reddit, investigators were on a similar path. The name David was circulating as a potential suspect for days, catalyzed by first-hand accounts of those who had encountered a very similar man to this in the wild. Redditors from his area shared tales of a local figure, a man who would dress up like a child, making his rounds as far south as London and as far north as Doncaster.
I like this video already because it's going into deeper stuff than what most people have already covered.
I'll be quite honest, I was really surprised when this guy popped up on my local city's subreddit. It's like one of them things that scared you as a child, then something reminds you of that as an adult, and it puts you back a bit. We're talking like 14-ish years back. I'm 28, almost 29 now. So he lived on my street while I was in my last few years of secondary school and first few years of college, age 14 to 17. He was very well known by pretty much everyone who lived around that area. There was even a video of him at one point titled Donnie Legend. Me and my brother looked for this today, but couldn't find it. It must be at least 14 to 15 years old now though, so it may be deleted. He spent a lot of time wearing his school uniform, usually the skirt and boots look, but sometimes a suit. Basically the exact same look from his recent pictures just with a different school uniform. He carried around a little lunchbox with a mirror glued to one side of it. He used to stand behind trees and watch people in the reflection. He used to follow kids home from school, going tree to tree. There were a few times he was caught looking through people's living room windows that had confronted him in the past. My brothers and stepdad had a few altercations with him.
Oh shit! So they had fucking confronted his ass about it.
My stepdad and mom especially didn't feel safe living on the same street as him and didn't like how close he lived to the local school.
A 50-second walk? He was a minute on foot away from the school? That's... oh god. Ugh.
About a 50-second walk. The police were called more times than I'd like to count, and they were never ever concerned. He never committed a crime, according to them. They were very concerned for his safety in this. He was always seen as such a danger, but I honestly just assumed, stupidly as a naive teenager, that this guy didn't know how to use the internet, or at the very least was monitored. It's horrible he's turned up online, though. I'm glad I can now be sure he's left the local city. My daughter starts secondary school next year, and I'm glad he won't be around to terrorize her. I just wish and hope that the authorities would protect the school kids where he is.
God. The fact that law enforcement didn't do anything no matter how many times they were called. It feels like a Dahmer-style case in a way, because they reacted the same way to Jeffrey Dahmer in the United States.
This man is a known creep. I used to work at the court 20 years ago, and he was in court in the paper several times for approaching and writing to underage girls while wearing makeup and young girl style clothing. He usually got away without conviction because the courts believed that he didn't intend to do any wrong. He was trying to speak to those girls because he wholeheartedly believed he was a girl of that age. With the
That's disgusting that the justice system isn't doing a fucking thing.
claim that this person was roaming neighborhoods as far as 14 years back, along with the statement that Schoolboy had wound up in court 20 entire years ago for writing to underage girls. Even then, it's apparent that he's far, far older than I initially thought. This is how he remembers Karen Point. This is how Stephanie knew so much about an era she never lived in. Doing the math here, at minimum, smartschoolboy9 is at least 40 years old.
He's 59, so he could have been doing this even further back. Like, even before 2004.
When I lived in Doncaster, there was a man who used to walk around dressed as a 1960s schoolboy who looked like he'd walked out of a black and white photo. I'm pretty sure his skin was painted white. People said he was called David. For decades, this man has been haunting neighborhoods around the UK, approaching children that are likely afraid of him, posting pictures of those that have no knowledge of his existence, and gravitating towards schools, seemingly under the belief that he's a child. Online activity by this person in which he's well-spoken and drops the act, though, like on his Facebook. He makes it clear that he knows what he's doing. This person is real, and this person is active. A local boogeyman, if you will, that shows no signs of stopping.
My ability is called
That makes me wonder if the local authorities are actually going to do something about this. Because if they haven't in the past, who's to say they won't now?
With the rise of the internet, David has harnessed social media to express his desires, utilizing heavily filtered and often AI-generated images of kids to toe the line of legality. Like we've seen on many of his posts, he emulates parents, putting on a facade of concern for the very people he's allegedly preying on. He falsifies personalities, presenting them to real-world publications as legitimate, and across his many profiles, he follows a laundry list of kids. At the end of the day, Schoolboy and his plethora of alts are just the tip of the iceberg, and for all we know, countless other accounts could be hiding in the void of cyberspace. Personas emulating children, interacting with children, and creating edits of real kids that have no idea they're being posted online. This man follows countless minors, and whether he's physically harmed or has endangered any of them in the real world, at this point, we have no idea. Going by one of his videos, however,
That's horrifying. Horrifying. I cannot talk. I'm so, like, I can't keep saying terrifying and horrifying enough. I know it sounds like I keep repeating these things, but, like, I don't have any other adjectives I can be using to describe this.
I truly hope that this isn't the case. But unfortunately, the evidence isn't very promising.
If you encounter or experience an exploitation of minors, report the incident at report.cybertip.org. Okay. So that was an exposed video, which dug a lot deeper into the Stephanie persona and how far back this actually goes. We're gonna look at Turkey Tom's video on it. We're not gonna watch the whole thing because most of it is just a reaction to the Nick Crowley video. But he does interview somebody on Discord who worked on this for a month, and I kind of want to talk about that. Okay, so trying to figure out where he starts interviewing. Okay, I think it's here. I'm gonna full screen it right quick.
People need to be sent straight to hell, I think, is probably the explanation here. You know, grab him, put him in jail, get some research on him for why he is this way, and then send him straight to the bottom of hell. Okay, send him right there. Some people got to go. Okay, some people just got to go to hell. Some people just need to be chilling with Satan all day. Okay, with the fires. Frankly, is he Asian or black or Asian or black or Blasian? Based on the mask, I can't tell. He looks like a white dude from Britain to me, just with weird shit going on. Jesus Christ. If you have any questions on this guy, I've been researching him for a month straight. Would hop on Discord to discuss all of your stuff. If you want to put your Discord name in chat, want to go piss and then we can talk if you want. Yeah, sure. Because I am curious, but Jesus Christ, man. Disturbing video. Straight to hell. Straight to hell. More like dumb schoolboy.
I mean, yeah, pretty much straight to hell. That he needs to go. He needs to go.
8, am I right? Jesus. More like dumb adult file 8, bro. The Ivory Door. Did you put your Discord in chat? If you did, I did not see it. 15 years ago, Rockstar would have turned this story into a Bully 2 and Manhunt 3 crossover. Yeah, probably. Probably. Jeez, man, what a disturbing video, Nick Crowley. Good job on the research, but goddamn. Goddamn. The world is a vampire. What's up?
Oh, what's up, dude?
So you made a video about this smart schoolboy guy before it blew up, I guess?
Yeah, I saw like the Reddit post on that subreddit like the day that it came out, and I was like, I know this shit's gonna blow up on YouTube. I gotta start cranking out the content on it.
Right. Do we know anything like more about this guy's psychology? Because I'm super. That's why I'm super curious about like his background and like what made him this way, maybe.
Well, like I talked.
Okay, so Tom is coming at it from a psychological standpoint on what might have started this whole thing, which does make a lot of sense. But honestly, I do want to point out that when I watched his video, he was talking about how a lot of pedophiles start out as being, sexually assaulted themselves. But the thing is, that's not always the case. Like, sometimes people are just born with that attraction. I'm not justifying it by any means, because as somebody who grew up as a survivor of those kinds of things, I don't feel like there's any justification, but psychologically speaking, it's not always because they've experienced the same thing and they think it's okay. There are those kinds of people, but it's not the major factor.
To like, obviously, I guess take this with a grain of salt because it was like the Reddit investigators, but they showed me a lot of the proof they had, and basically it seems like he's in like a home, like a mental health home, but like he has like autonomy. Like he lives in a home for people who are like mentally unwell, but he's still allowed to like
he has
walk
internet
around
access. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. I do want to talk about UK mental facilities, because one of the goth models I follow, she's permanently living in one of these facilities, and I think also who was it? Natram, the former lead singer of the black metal band Silencer, and the writer Grishjarda, and the creator of the project Diagnose Lebenskifar. He is in an asylum too, and he has autonomy. He actually has a label that he made for his records, obviously under the care of a mental health professional, but he does have autonomy to express himself. But the model I follow, she goes by Chloe on Instagram. She's in the UK. She has her own clothing company too. I can't remember what it's called. But she also gets to go out and do things. She has a modeling career, but she lives in a psych ward. Like, it's very different from how they do it in the United States. They can have their phones. They can go outside and buy things. They don't have to have a specific smoking area to smoke. They can have their vapes, whatever. While still being under inpatient psychiatric care.
And internet.
So is he like is he like mentally disabled, or?
I mean, I would assume so, but like he's at the very least obviously like something's wrong, but
yeah, but I mean what I'm saying is, like, is he like mentally ill, or is he like disabled, or both? Like, because I mean Nick Crowley said it in his video. He didn't really show the post, I assume censored because of like YouTube privacy violation TOS, but he said that his like personal Facebook, David Alters or whatever, seems to be somewhat cogent and intelligent. So
yeah, I think if he's in that home, it's more so for like being like more so like mental illness, not like he's like mentally disabled, because he I mean, I've read his Facebook and shit, and he seems like a pretty like intelligent, like he's able to like form sentences and shit and like talk like a normal person. Like there's nothing that indicated to me that he'd be like actually disabled.
Right.
Yeah, so it's straight up it's straight up mental illness. And he's self-aware about it.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. When did this guy start popping up? Because I've been getting emails about him for a little bit. When did he start becoming like a thing people were talking about? Was it because your video came out 7 days ago, a week ago? When was this like becoming a topic of discussion on Reddit and stuff like that?
Probably like I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But this guy has had these accounts up for like 5 years.
Yeah, they said since 2018, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's insane that it went on this long without anyone really like noticing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is like, I mean, we saw the account had 17 followers, right? And that's like at its peak of popularity before Nick Crowley posted a video. So, seemingly, it was just like super under the radar. I mean, the thing is, if you scroll across one of those posts on Instagram, like, one of the like less egregious ones was just like some weird AI art, you know, if you have it in your recommended, you're not going to think twice about it. You're just going to be like, okay, this is schizo. I'm going to move past it, right?
Yeah, that is true. But like, I think more.
It does come off as just a weird ARG at first until you start digging deeper.
So just like he was like following and like commenting on kids' posts. Like that's the part to me where I don't understand how it didn't get noticed earlier. Like no parent saw that and like said anything about that.
Well, seemingly the account was almost trying to like impersonate a parent too. So probably if a parent that's like not tech savvy, you know, or like a weird internet rabbit hole type guy, like when they see it, they're not going to instantly think like, oh, this is weird. You know, even if they see their kid following it, they're going to be like, oh, it's some weird account, you know, that like kids follow
like,
that has good. Yeah. Well, especially because a bunch of the posts were like really as bad, right? So when a parent reads that instantly, they're not thinking, I made this, right?
Yeah, it's like, but like, dude, that account really disturbed me the most. Like, I feel like that gives the biggest like window into his psychology, like the way that he spoke on that account.
The Stephanie one or the Smart School?
No, the Truth Sticks one, the one where he's pretending to the mom.
This Truth Sticks one definitely had some of the weirdest stuff, but I personally feel like the Stephanie one, because it's so far back, has the most information we can get out of what this dude is like.
Like that was just like to me it's like an admission that he like knows exactly what's going on.
It seems that way, yeah. Either that or he's got like, once again, like literally multiple personalities where some of them are child personalities and some of them are adults that like don't like the children being preyed on or something. Like it's hard to tell how deep this goes.
Yeah,
I'm curious if law enforcement will find anything.
I don't really think that law enforcement is going to do that much. I hope they do.
I would assume if they search his hard drives, they're going to find something not kosher, you know?
But also the thing is like, and this is really, really take it with a grain of salt, but someone posted like up and was like, oh yeah, I recognize this guy. Like he's been like in and out of like the courthouse that I used to work at for a long time. And like the court would always just kind of rule that like he wasn't like he was too like mentally unwell to like be found guilty or something. And then they would just like let him go.
I'm curious what he was in court for doing. Like, was he...
It said talking to children in public.
Okay. But was he...
Yeah. That feels like, how do I say this? This feels like the UK law enforcement isn't going to do anything if they haven't done anything before. I know I've already said that, but I still want to bring it up.
Like, what was he talking to them about, I guess, would be the question, you know? Like, was it something you prosecute him for? Because technically, it's not illegal to talk to a child in public, you know? Even if you are, like, a pedophile. Unless you're molesting them or trying to, technically it's not a crime, you know?
I can only assume that it was because he had said some weird shit. I mean, the guy didn't really get that into detail. I contacted him and tried to like find out more about it, and he just never responded.
It could be just some weird shit, or it could just be like people at the park notice that like these kids are running around playing, and then there's like this like 50-year-old, 60 or 59-year-old weirdo dressed up in a school uniform talking to them, you know? That might have been kind of a trip, you know, like, oh, what's going on here? Red flag, guys, you know?
If you see that guy at the playground, you got to call the cops immediately.
Yeah, you know, you got to do something about it. Damn. Is there anything else you wanted to share specifically about your investigations, I guess?
I think just like, I don't know, I thought the Crowley video was interesting, which is that like the one thing that he raised that I was kind of thinking about while I was like researching was that like it does almost seem like he is like expressing like guilt through some of his posts. Like he's like stacking being like he's being...
That's what I'm thinking too. The self-reporting does indicate a guilty conscience, but we can't be 100% sure because a lot of pedophiles like to tell on themselves.
Creepy and trying to like talk to kids, but then he's also being like, it seems to be almost like an admission and like expression that like he like doesn't.
He's calling himself out. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I don't know. Only thing I could say about it is just that like I hope I hope that guy just gets the help he needs, because like obviously like that guy needs to be like watched more than he's being watched, and he needs like mental health treatment, and that's just something he's getting.
He can't have a phone either, you know.
Oh
no,
yeah,
no
exactly.
phone. This guy
Take
should
away
be
the
playing
fucking
with
phone and
the.
computer.
He should be playing with the big blocks in the padded room. You know, he shouldn't have Instagram.
The Lego set, bro. That's what he needs.
They might be a little advanced, but yeah, I like the spirit. Exactly. All right, cool. Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was crazy. I'm a big fan. You know, keep up. Just watch the Daniel Larson one. That was fire.
Swag. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, take it easy. Good luck with your channel.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Okay, so now that we've gone to the Turkey Tom one, there are two other ones. I want to look at the Ivory Doors interview because we saw a glimpse of it through Turkey Tom, but we didn't hear any of the audio. So I'm gonna look through that. I'm gonna start here.
Peace. Well, first off, would you just describe, after investigating this guy, like just give me your description of what you believe is his character to be?
All right. So first things first, SSB, smartest schoolboy 9, is probably the most depraved figure I've ever just encountered online. We've seen like the likes of Daniel Larson, we've seen, you know, Cobra and stuff like that, but this guy's just on a different level because I don't think he realizes how much his online.
I'm so sorry, chat. I didn't even fucking see y'all. My phone's been charging. Chicken Stick, welcome. So sorry. Darth Vanquisher, I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to fucking ignore y'all. My phone's been charging. I normally see chat pretty quickly, but I have not seen y'all's responses at all. Hello, welcome. I'm so sorry. Well, there's Darth. I'm so sorry. There's a Darth Forte that followed me, so like that's why I was calling you Darth Vanquisher. But Darth, I'm sorry. Chicken Stick, I'm sorry. My phone's been charging, so I haven't had a chance to see chat. And honestly, I wasn't expecting you to show up, Darth, because I know you were working. But it's good to have y'all here. I'm so sorry. Babe, when you have a moment where you're not fighting, do you mind grabbing my phone? I'm grabbing my phone for chat, I promise. I know Chicken Stick's gone. But I'm so sorry. Give me a sec and I'll have my phone to where I can see chat. I'm so sorry. I've not even looked at it yet.
And persona has affected the way he's viewed. You know, when we encountered him, it was just this ridiculous culmination of just the most insane and uncanny images we could find. And then it just kept getting deeper and deeper for the most part. I don't think.
Oh, how was the visit with your grandparents?
There's any real way to describe him because, you know, for the most part, we haven't really discovered who the hell he is yet, like really truly. We have names, we have like addresses even, but you know, I want to get into his head, man. Like I want to peek behind the curtain. It just seems like there's something really, really crazy going on there. If you see his Facebook, he was talking about how this 14-year-old girl had like an interaction with him, and he kind of made her seem like at least from, you know, his.
Good, relaxing. Got to see the nieces. So did you go see them again, or uh was this from the last visit you had that you talked about on the Discord?
Perspective, which we can obviously take with a grain of salt, but he was kind of pinning her as the issue, like as the problem.
He's pinning this 14-year-old girl as an issue. Wow.
Like my brother in Christ, if you had a relationship with a 14-year-old girl, it's your fucking fault.
I wasn't directly involved with the like investigation team that you guys were a part of. Can you walk me through like what the investigation was like from the start, like the discovery?
Ah, gotcha. Well, I'm glad you had fun.
To like getting him reported to the police.
The beginning stages was just archiving, discussion, and compiling. We were just trying to like really kind of get the entire grasp of the entire situation, because mind you, he has like 11 plus pages. So the majority of the investigation was delving into that. Now,
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
As for how we found him, it's a very specific process that was ridiculous. And I have to say, huge, massive props to them, because they used brief images that he had made in his physical videos. The videos that he had videotaped of himself, he had shown brief images of legit just passing by buildings. In one of his videos, he's walking down this road right here, but he briefly passes by this supermarket at night. And that was one of the tell-alls that we were able to find, that this is where he lived.
Damn, just from a supermarket.
And it just came down to just a collective kind of investigation of people kind of just giving their insight, giving what they have, giving, their perspectives on, who they think this guy is, where do you think he lives. So you've seen those videos of himself in his hallway, and he's like showing off his boots and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that hallway was one of the main things that helped me find out where his door was. Now, the reason why that footage was important is because I had to go off with the assumption that this is where he lived, since this was where he consistently recorded from, and this was his front door. It all just came down to the...
And that's probably his dorm in the mental facility that he's staying at.
Collective kind of mind that we had, the collective brain power of just people that were local in the UK that could kind of give us enough information, give us enough locations to, again, narrow down the general area. And from there, we were able to see from brief videos where the hell he was. These people were just looking at every frame, looking for every possible notion that could give anything revealing. And because of his mistakes, because he decided to record his surroundings so much, we were able to narrow it down. And when it comes to his identity, that was specifically found through...
Okay, so right now we're watching The Ivory Door. He's one of the first people to actually post about smartschoolboy9. I don't know if you've been here for a minute, but this guy, David Alter, he's 59 years old. For about 20 years now, he's been around children, interacting with children, dressing up as a child. I guess like a dead child, because the way he looks like a corpse that was either suffocated or drowned. He lives in the UK. He's currently being investigated by local authorities, but he has like 11 or more. We know at least 11, but it could be estimated 34 based on his own telling of himself, because he makes a lot of accounts with like either real kids or fictional kids with AI generated faces and photoshopped onto real adults in inappropriate positions. Like he's made faux I'm gonna just use the first letters of this quote, cringe performances. You know what that stands for. Using these AI, he's also taken pictures of actual kids in the wild. He's chased down. There's a video of him chasing down a boy. He gets into these classrooms and stuff. They found out that he's in an asylum that gives like autonomy to its patients, so he can go out and do this kind of shit. He was in court like 20 years ago, because they reported him talking to children, but law enforcement really didn't do anything back then, saying he hadn't done anything illegal necessarily. But like even the creator of Solid Fingers saw this dude walking around when he was in high school. So he is very well known in like Doncaster and London. And right now I'm watching an interview from the Ivory Door talking to one of the Reddit investigators. Um, it's just really really fucked up. And Darth, you should watch the YouTube video after this, so you kind of get an idea. I'm gonna be uploading it right after this, but there's a lot that has gone down. He even has some of his personas publishing poetry in newspapers and stuff like that. So like he's been around for a long fucking time. Uh, he has a strange obsession with high heel mini boots. Like all of his aliases have these high heel mini boots, and he also likes to project and claim that the people calling him out are pedophiles. A company? Shoot. Yeah, you could say that. I mean, Instagram. Yeah, pretty. That's pretty much where we're at. But another thing that you should know is that uh, this dude. What was it? This dude also is very well spoken on his actual Facebook. Um, and he's under investigation currently. I don't think anything is going to come about because of how they handled it last time. Feels like we got a real Dahmer case on our hands. And when he calls out his other aliases, uh, he does it in a very hyper specific way to kind of tell on himself. So there might also be MOs of cannibalism and ritualistic sacrifice based on what he said about his other accounts. He literally interacts with himself. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's where we're at. Um, but yeah, right now we're watching the Ivory Door interview of one of the investigators.
A lot of his pages. So what people did is that they brute forced a lot of key search terms to look for different accounts. So that's how we found the majority of his persona pages.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a fucking rabbit hole. That's why I said watch the YouTube video after this.
Of him, you know, acting as different school children and whatnot. So from there, we were able to find his Facebook, and for the most part, his Facebook just kind of reveals the majority of the stuff, as well as his Instagram is a separate Instagram where he has this like weird like lyricist singer page. So on his Facebook, he links a Instagram called Lyricist David. Now, from the reports that we got from multiple like witnesses, we knew that his name was David. And as for his last name, is not entirely confirmed. So if you look at this page right here, this is his page, and he seems really into comedy sketches, acting, singing. One of the ways that we were able to confirm that this was his page is this hat specifically. This hat right here is featured in one of his videos, and he's wearing it with a wig and a whole schoolgirl getup. Here's the classic shoes. You see the mini boots right here. So that's another one of the things that we were able to use to try to, you know, confirm his location and his page. You see just brief images and videos of him in London, and you know his favorite parts of London, and you know displaying his quote unquote vocal talents and stuff like that.
See, this is what I mean. This whole tongue thing, the white makeup, the red lipstick, he looks like a bloated corpse of a child.
It's also interesting that we were able to find this page is poetry. This is a poem right here. We, not we, but a whole bunch of people brute forced a lot of the poetry that was put in the captions and just looked for key terms. And that's what we were able to, that's how we were able to find the Lyricist David Facebook account, because he posts poetry there. In terms of the investigation, it was just a lot of discussion, a lot of archiving. They scoured the internet. That's just what it comes down to. They scoured the internet, absolutely scoured the internet. They looked on every corner, just looking for, again, poems that this guy had written. You know, we already know where he lives. Let's search for that, all that stuff. And it's just ridiculous, man, what we were able to find. And, you know, it's That's all I could really say about the investigation. It was just all across the internet. We had just searched for just anything we possibly could. And mind you, all of this was publicly available information that he put online. And all it came down to was just, again,
a lot of these Instagram accounts that were listed were taken down, but then again, on one of the accounts he was calling out, there was mentioned that they were 34. So there's probably more than that. And we don't know if all those 34 are run by Schoolboy, or if there are legit some different people, but either way, it's still horrific to think about. The internet is forever. That is true.
like connecting the threads, crossing them, legit. Like he had multiple pages. So we looked through every page to give an idea as to his location, his identity. It just goes deep, dude. Like it really just goes deep. Like genuinely, we were constantly finding new stuff. And the rabbit hole, again, it just kept getting deeper. Whenever we found new pages,
I'm surprised Frederick Knudsen hasn't done a video on this, because his series is literally called Down the Rabbit Hole.
And that shit got more disturbing. It just revealed all the more about SSB. It just revealed this, kind of character that we had painted in our minds. And all we were looking for was just more information. And we had to scour the internet in order to do so. This investigation was like,
I mean, you got over 20 years of information, and even more than that, I would think, because of the fact that this dude is 59 years old. He's been doing this for a long time.
The combined work of straight up hundreds of people. Hundreds of people have just found this shit. A good 30 of them mainly contributed to finding everything and compiling and archiving. It was for those people who were really smart on how the internet works that we were able to kind of just narrow things down and find those pages. And more than anything, it was because of SSB. All that stuff, all that information he gave.
I'm not sure how much knowledge you specifically have on it, but what was the
asylums in the UK are very different from the asylums in the US. I grew up visiting and being a patient at several asylums in the US. And those asylums are a lot more strict than the ones in the UK. During the day, they have a set schedule when they're supposed to come back. But they have total autonomy. What they do is their own business. And I can't I don't know fully how it works because I haven't lived there. Well, that's the thing, is that we don't have confirmed cases of people going missing yet. We only have a video of him chasing down a boy, him taking pictures of kids at playgrounds and stuff like that. We don't know if he's actually harmed any kids just yet. And we're hoping that we don't find that information, but if we do, then that pinpoints exactly that he needs to be locked up, because he's towing the line on what is legal and what is not at this point in time.
Police's response after it was reported?
So a select few people were able to contact the Yorkshire police in regard to SSB. As a result, there was a lot of witnesses that we talked to online that had told us that he had been in contact with the police before. So all it came down to was someone who lived in the UK being willing to report this. We gave them all our information, all the information, and more than I gave you, that you could see in the server. Everything that we found, his address, everything was given to the Yorkshire police. And what really sucks is that all we were told as a result of this is that, hey, we have the information and we're taking it seriously. That's all we can give you. And the thing is that with the Yorkshire police, all we can say is that they're investigating this, dude. And it really sucks to say that, because I wish I had more information, but they've kind of just over the course of weeks just kind of told us, hey, we're still looking into this, we're taking it seriously, and we're still using this information that you've given us. That's all we can tell you. And for the most part, all it came down to was someone making a case number, us submitting a lot of information to that case number, anything that we got, any interviews that we made with the witnesses, any new information that came out. I'm hoping that, all this information that we found is nothing to obstruct the investigation, because like I
Yeah, we don't want a Mama Max situation where we obstruct the evidence.
said, all I want for this guy is to get, like, put him in an institution, get him some help. And I'm really glad that they're using all this, combined work of shit of hundreds of people to, look into this, to seriously investigate way more and look into this and take action on it. But straight up, man, all I can say is that they're seriously looking into it, and that's as much we can hope for. I'm as eager to find out more information on this as you are. I really hope.
I say blame the place that let him leave since he was there because he clearly needed help. Yeah, that's true. He's also been in and out of court systems because of multiple people reporting it 20 years ago. So it's not like they couldn't have done something about this earlier. That's why I said it kind of feels like a Dahmer case, because it kind of ended up in the same fashion, and it ultimately led to more people getting killed than, was known about, because it could have been easily prevented. And I feel like that's what's going to happen here, is somebody's going to get hurt, and then the UK is going to be looked at for how they handled it, because they could have easily prevented it. Even without all this information, they had shit on him back then. So why didn't they stop him 20 years ago? Why didn't they stop him now?
Hope something serious comes out of this. I really, really hope something serious comes out of this. And I think now is an appropriate time to make people aware of him. I feel like making him a danger to society, putting this guy out on the internet and making sure that people know about him, making sure that people are scared about him and willing to, share and repost him. I feel like it's going to be important.
Alright, so that was the Ivory Door interview. As far as the corners is the last one we're going to look at, and then I'm going to go to bed. So this was the first video that I think ever talked about it. And that was as far as a month ago, right when the Reddit stuff came out. So we're going to click on that one, we're going to watch it, and then I'm going to upload this to YouTube and go to bed. Yeah, you're right. Dahmer was rich and powerful. This guy wasn't. He is a mentally ill man. Yeah, I totally agree with that. But at the same time, the execution is very similar in how it was being handled.
Hey guys, this video will be relatively different than the usual stuff I post. This is a lot less scripted and a bit more direct, so I'm not really gonna beat around the bush and just say everything as it is. But before that, I just want to lay some stuff out before the video starts. That being that, don't try to contact some of the accounts mentioned in this video, as authorities are already looking into it. Second, I know some videos have been uploaded mentioning this topic, but a lot of other stuff that does tie itself within this topic have not been mentioned at all about this whole situation. So people are...
Yeah, his smoke detector is going off like crazy.
just not talking about how extensive this whole thing is. So I thought that I might want to tie everything together and make a full video about it. I just wanted to bring these accounts and the strange rabbit hole it falls under with a bit more exposure and provide a bit of my own 2 cents about the situation. So other than that, let's start the video. In mid-July earlier this year, many posts were being uploaded in the Internet Mystery subreddit about...
I don't know if he has or not. Our smoke detectors aren't going off, so we're good. Oh, the video we're watching, the guy has his smoke detector going off.
About a plethora of strange Instagram accounts that were pretending to be school children and just overall containing some really strange media within these accounts. With these accounts posting probably some of the most nonsensical and creepiest stuff I've ever seen. And what truly is shocking about all of this is that these accounts have been posting for many years, with no one ever batting an eye until recently, as it is believed, and there being a real implication from what is known out there, that these accounts were created to fuel people's fetishes about school children. There's a lot of moving parts and accounts connected to this entire rabbit hole,
so I won't be going in chronological order and stating everything. I'm just going to go over the main accounts people are talking about and talk about them individually and tie them back together to the others, as there's a lot of connections to be made with all of these accounts. So with all of that said, let's focus on the main account that really gave way to the strange Instagram rabbit hole, and probably the most disturbing one. With the Instagram account that really gave way to all of this, going by the name of smartschoolboy9.
Yeah, I swear to God, if he shows a video where this dude is making the tongue noises again, I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm.
Is presumed to be a PDF file, but before we reach to that conclusion, this individual would run a relatively obscure Instagram account, in which by first viewings, seems so scattered and random. Everything just seems like it's all over the place when you first view this account, but it's only until you dig deeper within it that something concerning starts becoming very apparent. That being that the user behind this account, whom we will refer to as 9 now, is what seems to be a grown-ass man who dresses up as a school kid and is constantly promoting a lot of strange fetishes, also whilst masquerading and trying to pretend that he's a kid. This becomes more apparent by looking at his bio and the many captions he writes about himself. For example, on a wobbling bus to go home after a really good day at school and projects until late, I'm the only child on the bus. Have part 3 on Monday afternoon, and I'm on the school bus going home. Home from school. You get the idea. This is generally how this guy writes about himself, it always having a connotation that he's a kid who goes to school and is
like, Darth, look at this dude and tell me what you see. Like, look at this dude. This dude, please tell me it gives you the same Uncanny Valley vibes.
excited doing so, who loves life and is friends with all these people who are children. And it's very strange and concerning seeing all of this for obvious reasons, because it's literally a grown-ass man pretending to constantly self-insert himself in the lives of children that he probably doesn't even know. But I think the weirdest thing about this account is actually more so about the videos and pictures that 9 would upload, as most of these videos feature 9 dressing up as a school kid and acting out in strange ways whilst trying to mimic the movements of a child, and just making strange noises throughout most of these videos, and yet again, self-inserting himself within the life of a school kid.
Disgusting.
I mean, just take a look.
Okay. Oh, a little bit. Hi. I hope you like these photos. School is good. Really good. Hi guys.
The high-heeled boots are going to be across every single account for this.
I'm here at school.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
Sounds like Korean zombies when they're almost fully turned looking for help. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
But I had to show y'all, as talking about it doesn't really show just how strange this whole thing is. It seems so off-putting in many ways, especially because it's edited in such a way that just feels so unnerving and uncanny. It's all just filled with so much saturation and so much effects and stickers that it's actually bordering on literally being brain rot. And whilst it seems dumb at first, the implication behind this strange format and editing that 9 would do is even more concerning after seeing what else can be found in his Instagram account. That being that 9 will post a lot of pictures of children in his account, with some of these posts even containing pictures of half-naked children.
It's fucking... God. It's grotesque, bro. Like, I know I keep using the same adjectives, but it is so grotesque.
With most of these pictures of exposed children always showing these kids just using a Speedo or just underwear.
Exactly. Leave the kids alone. It's not that difficult.
It's so vile and disturbing seeing this. And if it isn't that sort of post containing children, other posts show just school kids that he apparently went to school with, even writing full-on captions about his relationship with some of these kids, stating their names and ages, with some of these pictures and videos that he would post simply being ripped from TikToks of random kids and pretending that he knows them. With one of these kids that this happened to being named Miles, which I'll mention and go more into depth in the latter part of this video. But obviously, this whole thing is so weird because no one in their right mind would pretend that they know young kids and act as one to sell the idea that they are. Unless you're fucking sick. But it would seem like mostly all of this was a ploy to sort of gain the attention of children to speak to him. As not only would Nine post pictures of kids, he would also follow a lot of young...
Yeah, he only has children in his follower base. Unless it's an account that he's using.
Children on his Instagram, even commenting and interacting with a lot of these kids, trying to relate and pretend to be so innocent and childlike.
It's gross. It is. It's gross.
It's just so bad seeing this and just imagining how bad the implication behind this account is. It's extremely concerning as there's also many posts that Nine would upload that shows him being relatively near kids in person as well. With most of these pictures or videos that he would upload.
He does Photoshop a lot of the red lipstick and big smiles and like the smoothed out faces on a lot of his aliases too. Like, I'm pretty sure he photoshopped that face onto this kid.
About kids being edited and distorted in such a way that makes it seem like they're using makeup or just completely alter their entire appearance. It's so uncanny and creepy because Nine would have a habit of constantly doing this. Not only would Nine post all of these weird stuff, but it would seem that a lot of the posts in his accounts also had some very sexual...
People who harm kids are the only type of people I genuinely hate, and they make my blood boil. I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. They make me fucking angry.
Undertones behind them, as it would seem that Nine would have some sort of fixation about being sticky and using mini boots, which some people point out as some sort of shame or strange kink that he has. It's also important to know that this fixation of mini boots is present in most of the accounts that are tied to this rabbit hole, which only adds plausibility to there being some sort of strange fetish as well. This only gets accentuated more when viewing some weird videos that came out of this account as well, as in some videos that Nine would upload, it will seem like he's pleasuring himself whilst being dressed as a school kid. It's just so messed up seeing all of this and really makes you assume the worst about who Nine really is. That being that Nine is a PDF file that is into some really freaky fetish or a man who is trying to cope in some way by dressing and acting as a child.
I'm sorry, but there's so much that leads into the pedophile territory that is just... God, dude, it drives me up a wall how bad this is.
This being the general consensus of who Nine really is, it doesn't help either that Nine has a really bizarre appearance as well that is greatly exaggerated, as you can tell that some aspects of his face are fake, like his teeth and overly pale skin that doesn't line up with the glimpses that we have gotten of his actual skin color and face. And it is also apparent that Nine is older, mostly due to his receding hairline and just very pudgy and mature body appearance. It seems like Nine's appearance and the way he presents himself has also bled a bit into the way he edits the children's faces in his post to have just as, if not more, exaggerated features than him. There's just a lot to point out about this account. Whether that's the comments, the captions, the videos, the photos, there's just so much to unwrap, but most of it does thread on itself in being extremely consistent with who Nine is pretending to be. That being that of a supposed 5th grader. But it isn't until you see some of the comments and the way he talks to people.
Yeah, some of his videos and photos say he's in the 7th grade, some say he's 7, some say he's 11. And to know a mental health place let this guy go is the craziest part. Yeah, that is true.
Who criticize him that this facade starts to crack even more. As earlier I mentioned that Nine has tried talking to kids, but there was one time when someone whose post he commented on said something negative about Nine, in which Nine just twisted the whole situation and retaliated back to this negative comment.
Yeah, your account is fucking terrifying. Like, delete it. I think Smart Schoolboy did get taken down, but there are plenty of others that he has.
By trying to paint the other person as a PDF file, even though there was never any mention of it in this interaction at all. This was not a one-time occurrence of Nine acting out of character, as a lot of other examples of Nine being nasty have surfaced, with some people actually DMing Nine personally and leaving comments in his page that criticize him or are calling him a PDF file. This of course happening after this whole rabbit hole gained a bit more attention on Reddit, which would prompt Nine to break character and actually start framing the people who say this stuff as them actually being the real PDF files and generally just being really insufferable, simply dismissing anything that he doesn't see as positive in his way, which eventually prompted Nine to eventually deactivate his account after all the backlash, with one of his last stories.
I mean, he literally just would lash out at people being so projective. Like, that's what I mean when he's hyper projecting. This is not normal. He tries to place the blame on anyone who has any criticism of him, including calling out other alts that he has made.
Being about the negative comments, stating that people are simply just jealous for whatever reason. It's obvious that there's something wrong about this guy. It just seems like this whole account was made to be a whole self-insert of Nine, to try to relive or act as a kid, or to be used for malicious purposes. It just seems like a huge fetish or idea this guy romanticizes about a lot. Everything I mentioned is mostly what everyone is freaking out about, and for good reason too, which is why I gained a lot of popularity within Reddit, and it's also where the plethora of theories and conclusions were based out of this individual. So much so that people actually found out some locations that he has visited in some of his videos, and also identified the school that he apparently goes to, due to the badge of his uniform. All of this taking place in Pontefract, a city in England, with several users reporting this man to the school and to local.
Yeah, they've reported him to the schools, and the schools know. So, don't contact him. Don't contact the schools. Don't contact, the places around here, because he is currently under investigation. But I don't think anything will come of it because they haven't done anything in the past. The law enforcement hasn't.
Authorities, but nothing has came out of it so far, other than a report apparently being out and a case number. So hopefully we do see an update soon.
I'm sure they do, but I don't think they know how nefarious his purpose is.
It's just such a strange rabbit hole that only gets deeper as people have only found more strange accounts that may be owned or related to Nine, because most of these accounts that Nine would follow are extremely similar to the content that he would post in the smartschoolboy9 account, which I'll now talk about some of the more notable ones. Starting out with one of these accounts, I present to you probably one of the more interesting ones out of the bunch. This Instagram account named Stephanie.
This one has like 3 other alts for Stephanie alone, and then has a Facebook and a YouTube.
Schoolie was being followed by the smartschoolboy9 account. This account was also brought up within the popularity of this obscure rabbit hole due to the content of this page being extremely similar to that of Nine's account, albeit it's a lot more subtle and is hidden under this whole giant mess of an Instagram page. Anywho, this account mostly revolves around the presumed owner of it, that being a 13-year-old girl named Stephanie, who we can presume knows or is at least close to Nine, indicated by her latest post that calls back to Nine deactivating his account, and some locations she mentions in her post being in the UK. But this account, similar to Nine, seemed a lot like a little diary for the owner who's a schoolgirl and would post a lot of pictures and write a lot of captions about going to school, her interests, and just the general life of being a 13-year-old girl. It seems normal, almost, but the thing about this account though, is that the posts that are within this account are just really strange and bizarre.
The thing that's weird about the shoes is that I'm pretty sure that he's photoshopping his own legs onto this character that he's made, and the shoes are too small for him.
I mean, when you first look at this account, the first thing you're greeted with is just a plethora of posts that contort the human body in weird ways. Alongside this, there's also an apparent self-portrait of Stephanie that is used in most of Stephanie's posts that just looks very creepy and just overly exaggerated. And not only that, but most of this account contains pictures of Stephanie's face being distorted and edited in really unnerving ways, such as overly exaggerating facial features that ends up making these pictures seem non-human and fake, with there always having some sort of strange music or noise playing in the background for most of these pictures. Similar to 9 and how he would edit and post children's faces strangely and also contain strange audio for most of his posts. It's weird to say the least, especially when seeing that some of these pictures that are posted in this account that claim to be Stephanie aren't actual pictures of Stephanie. Some of these pictures are clearly of different girls. It's very disturbing to see, and even though this is really weird,
he just takes, like, how are you okay with this guy taking pictures of these children, like, in these classrooms?
I think the weirdest part about this isn't just about the strange edits and filters Stephanie uses on these pictures of different girls and presumably on herself, nor is it the strange deepfake AI videos of Stephanie, but rather that Stephanie always makes it a point to mention her age, because in most of her posts, she refers to herself as a 12 or 13-year-old, yet the timeline does not match at all for.
At the same time, the stock images can be, like, reverse image searched. A lot of the pictures that he has on his account cannot be reverse image searched. Like, they're original.
For that to be the case anymore. For example, in 2020, Stephanie begins referring to herself as a 13-year-old girl, with previous posts mentioning that she was 12. So, alright, she aged, that's normal, no shit. But for the last couple of years, more specifically for the last 4 years, she still refers to herself as a 13-year-old, even though by this point, she should presumably be 16 years old, nearing 17 as of 2024. Yet, in her bio and some newer posts, she still mentions herself as a 13-year-old girl, and still posting pictures of herself still looking extremely young, and still using a school uniform for kids in some of her later posts. Now, I understand that charter schools exist, but come on. This is very strange even if this account was owned by just a random girl. There's just a lot of discrepancies and strange things that don't line up at all. But I think another weird thing to point out about this account is that of Stephanie's fixation with her heels and shoes. The way it's described just feels very off, as there's always some sort of mention or image that shows a pair of fucking heels. I just think it's weird.
It's very weird. Weird is an understatement, and I keep trying to act like, I haven't said it already, and I'm sorry, chat. I keep using the same adjectives, but it's so fucking bizarre.
Weird, because smartschoolboy9 would also do the same with his account and his batch of.
Thank you. Weird is what this guy is. This is very true.
Mini boots. It just seems like a really strange fetish to me. Not only this, but Stephanie would also post a lot of pictures of herself wearing swimsuits and being edited in really strange ways. It's so weird and just so concerning seeing this. I mean, you could simply chop it up to it being a child with an open imagination, but when there's a lot of discrepancies with age and a lot of pictures of other stuff that just aren't of Stephanie, that idea of this being a kid starts wearing off quickly, especially after you start seeing some of the newer posts of this account, with it really driving the horrible, weird, contorted editing style to new heights. It's so uncanny because the account just looks so vastly different compared to how it did originally. And that's saying a lot, as it's very important to mention that Stephanie has been posting for damn near 5 years now, with the posts just seemingly getting more and more strange as the years went by. Even though this is what makes up the bulk of this account, there actually is.
I've been 13 for 10 years. Okay, Ash, where's Pikachu? Look, Chad said it, babe. Don't give me that look. He said he was making fun of this account. He's like, I've been 13 for 10 years. Okay, Ash, where's Pikachu?
is a bit more to talk about this account, as people have actually found out Stephanie's older Instagram account alongside her Facebook and Twitter. With this older Instagram account being somewhat in the same vein as her other account that we just talked about. This account is still very strange though, because it still shows pictures of children and a lot of pictures of Stephanie that aren't her, that are all edited in horrific ways. The same goes for her Twitter, which makes it even more apparent that some pictures that are supposedly of Stephanie simply are not her. And for her Facebook, it's relatively a lot more low-key. But I think one of the more notable things to talk about actually comes from a YouTube channel that is believed to be of Stephanie's. So in this video called 1995 Brixton at Night, a video that basically is just archival footage of the 90s in the UK, a weird comment would be found from a user whom shared the real name of Stephanie. This comment, however, though, was made 6 months ago and simply said this: with Stephanie simply discrediting many schools in the area for not allowing children to use heels.
Man is straight Timmy Turner and believes he can't age. Man got the Timu Fairly Odd Parents. God damn, Darth. Oh shit. That was good. That was really fucking good.
With the most important part being that Stephanie goes to an independent school that allows her to wear heels, which shows the fixation of heels even more. This account, although not as disturbing and strange as 9, will still be really strange to even come across in, especially when there's a lot to pick at regarding why she knows 9, or why she edits pictures the way she does, or why she doesn't update her age. There's just a lot of questions about this that makes this whole thing so unsettling. Alright, this will be the last major account from this entire rabbit hole that I'll mention, with this account probably being the most confusing one out of all the others, and the most to pick at compared to the rest that I've mentioned. It's also suspected that this account is owned by smartschoolboy9, which I'll mention why after I explain the content of this page. So let's just start delving into some of the stuff.
I mean, it's a dead giveaway even with the AI image after you put the other pieces together.
That this account has that is very concerning to say the least. So this account that I'll refer to as 11 now is so fucking weird, to put it bluntly. Mostly due because this account is apparently owned by a young boy and a mother as stated by their bio. It also contains a lot of captions and posts that are written in French, and just overall posting some really concerning pictures about kids. But before we get to that point, I need to talk a bit more about the very beginning of this account, because needless to say, it has evolved a lot. So this account's first post was made in 2021, with the first post of this account exposing a child predator on Instagram who was pretending to be a child. And not only would 11 first post be this, but most of his early posts would mention and bring awareness to a lot of these disgusting pervy accounts that are pretending to be kids within Instagram. I mean, just take a glance at some of these posts and read the captions.
So, that's the account.
Okay, so this is the same dude. This is Schoolboy9. Like, they have the same voice.
By a man pretending to be a boy.
It's disturbing to say the least, and very ironic because 11 would end up following the Schoolboy9 account whilst it was still active, and also why people believe that 9 is behind this Truthstick account. But other than that, yeah, most of 11's early posts would all be centered about exploited children and calling out these weird—
He does sound like Dobby. Oh my god. I did not even think about that.
PDF file Instagram accounts. But like all the other accounts, as we continue diving deeper, we start seeing something change within 11. That being that most of his posts after these first few 7 posts that I just showed start deviating a lot in terms of how they would be edited, with most of these new posts that 11 would do being a lot more saturated and just more cluttered. Not only this, but it would seem like after this point, which is 2 months from the start of this account originally, the account and the post would start changing between who would post them, i.e. either the mother or the son, the ones that were mentioned in the bio. So as a result, you start seeing a lot of posts either being in the perspective of the son or the mother. And most posts after this new rebranding of the account would now also start containing pictures of the supposed son being highly edited in subtle ways at first, such as applying makeup and overly saturating the son's eyes. These being little pictures within these new posts alongside a wall of text that mostly pertain to school and or knowledge and other trivial stuff. And although it does seem weird, it's not all that concerning. Sure,
it just gets it's like the most subtle one, really. But still.
Creepy and whatnot, but it seemed like this account originally did have some good intentions. I mean, the account until this point was also still posting awareness about PDF files and being careful about these types of individuals and a bunch of other things that seemed innocent enough. And that's how the account will remain until some months leading to 2022. It wouldn't be until late April of that same year that the TrueSticks account would begin posting some really strange photos and videos of the apparent son being edited a lot more grotesquely compared to earlier posts from months prior. Just huge distorted and overly exaggerated features on the son's.
Jesus. That's... I keep saying it, but it always gives me Mandela Catalog vibes.
Face, similarly to how Stephanie and Schoolboy9 would edit pictures of themselves and our children. And by this point onwards, the account just becomes a literal hellhole of extremely unnerving edits of the son's face using makeup and just looking so lifeless. Like, you guys can't tell me that these pictures do not look weird or creepy. It really seems like it was all created by AI due to just how unnatural it looks, which is something that a lot of people have mentioned about this account and others similar to it. And even though this is creepy already, it only gets worse, as by this point as well, the TrueSticks 11 would begin posting several photos of the young boy simply just wearing underwear or being in really revealing clothes and doing some really suggestive poses. Like, it's clearly trying to attract something or someone. It's actually vile how this is just being posted and has been sitting on Instagram for many years. Also because, if we're taking this account at face value, that will mean that the mother actively knows that this is being posted as well.
It's so gross, bro. Like, if this weren't what we know it to be, and this were what the account says it was, the mother would have been locked up. I'm just saying.
And simply allowing her son to just be half naked for the whole world to see. It's so disgusting and disturbing just seeing this account for a plethora of reasons, mostly due because the son who's featured is obviously a very young kid. Even if it is just AI, why is this so descriptive? It's just so strange. But unlike the other accounts that I mentioned, this account would actively post. Like, they post a lot and are actually relatively active, which is just concerning, and it's still up at this very moment if you guys want to check it out.
No. I don't think there's any mama out there claiming schoolboy. Yeah, that's true. Don't go looking for these Instagram accounts. Don't do it. Save yourself some sanity.
And that's mostly everything I had to say about this account. Alright, as I'm editing this video, more stuff came out about this whole situation, mostly of other smaller accounts that all have the same vibe of editing children's faces in really weird manners have been discovered, which I'll briefly touch upon now. Schoolgirl Teresa was an account that was found amidst all of this for posting similar pictures to that of Stephanie's schoolgirl on TrueSticks, these pictures being that of the owner of this account, aka Teresa, whom is 16 and which most of these pictures are edited in really disturbing ways, such as having extremely red lips.
Man can't upload before more evidence comes out. For real!
And making weird faces. This is strange and is something we've seen a lot of so far, but this account would also post some really subtle sexual things. One of these posts being that of what we can assume to be a self-portrait of Teresa at 13, whom is fully unclothed and making a really strange face in this portrait, all of which are drawn and edited similarly to how these accounts would edit children's faces, it being completely exaggerated and just looking really off. Not only this, but this account has also been posting for many years, with
so gross.
a lot of these posts talking about school and life, and also posting a lot of pictures of heels, something that all these Instagram accounts in this video have in common. Not only this, but this account would also just post a lot of pictures of schoolgirls and children yet again, being edited in really strange ways, and actually showing the full faces of some of these people. And other than that, there's not as much information about this account as it has gone private. Another account that was found to be very similar to the rest of these accounts was that of an account called NewGirl10. NewGirl is a relatively small Instagram account and probably the account with the least amount of information about it.
Yeah, this one's probably the one that's kind of the most blatant other than smartschoolboy9.
This Instagram account, similarly to the rest, is about a young owner whom is 12 and whose name is Lisa. And although this account is different in the sense that it doesn't really feature any grotesque edits of children or of themselves, it still is similar in the sense that this account heavily mentions school and shows a lot of pictures of heels. It's very strange seeing this, as it seems like all these accounts for some reason love mentioning and showing pictures of heels.
It's so exhausting to think about the effort that this guy is putting into this.
And like I said for the smartschoolboy9 account, this could very well be some sort of fetish for heels or something.
Not one, but 2 new accounts in the time of uploading video. Exactly. That's so... And this was a month ago, mind you.
Akin to that. It's very strange, and it's mostly all I have to say about this account, as this account is also suspected to be owned by Nine. This will be the last Instagram account that I will ever mention in this video. This account named MileS95 is actually very notable, as it's actually smartschoolboy9's early account prior to the one that I mentioned early on. And unlike that other account, this one is still up and running, but has not been posted on for many years. The contents of this page is extremely similar to all the other accounts in this video. That being that it's a bunch of pictures of Nine, edited in really fucking strange ways and constantly mentioning school. But the thing about this account is that this account would also post some pictures of a kid in a Speedo in which Nine will crop his own face into it. I'm not kidding, it actually is so surreal seeing this. It just does not look good at all and really makes you feel concerned about what is even up with these accounts. Oh, and also, the fixation about mini boots is still prevalent here. But I think the strangest thing about this account actually comes from the name of it, that name being Miles.
Miles is a real kid. Miles is a real kid.
One of the kids that Nine apparently knew is named Miles, and is something I did mention in the smartschoolboy9's account section. Miles is a kid whom Nine would rip a video out of from TikTok and act as if he knew him, with people posting pictures of what seems like Nine mimicking Miles. So I'm not sure if Nine's real name is Miles or knew Miles for many years, but it's still very interesting to mention and very disturbing.
Basically, he's saying more accounts have been found since he's finishing this video. His tongue, we don't know why he does the tongue thing. I think it's some kind of fetish, but also, like I was talking about, Nine, I feel he has this notable thing he called himself out on, which was the MO of cannibalism and ritualistic sacrifice, which makes me think he's mimicking not only a child, but a dead one. A dead one. Specifically, a child who's died from either suffocation or drowning because their tongue swells up and they bloat. So it's like advanced decomposition. Yeah, no, some of these are actual fucking kids. It's disgusting. The pictures alone, yeah, they would be found they would be enough for case. And that's the thing that I don't get with this shit is like, why isn't, something being done more quickly?
Finally, we reached the final account in this video that could be tied to 9. That being of a YouTube account that was found to be followed by a follower who followed the...
I think they're trying for a life sentence to like 10 to 20 years. Man, I hope I hope they give him more than that. I hope they give him more than that.
Original smartschoolboy9 account. That's a mouthful, so I just drew this graph because I knew the way I worded that was shit. But anywho, this YouTube account that was found was called Mind Control's Good Girls Happy Hypnosis. Yeah, this is a YouTube account that was in the realm of posting hypnotizing videos to mind control girls and make them into your pet.
I got you.
It sounds ridiculous, but when you view any comment from the videos of this account, you will simply be met with people acting as if they're some sort of pet or slave. It's so weird and obviously a fetish thing or something that people just like to play along to for shits and giggles, but it's still very weird nevertheless. This is probably the furthest piece of evidence in knowing about who...
Yeah, this probably has nothing to do with it, but this channel needs to be looked at regardless.
9 really is, but I just needed to mention it as a lot of people have also noticed this. Alright, now that I mentioned and talked about the majority of these accounts, I want to talk more about the general consensus and some theories that people had about this account. Theory 1, it's all the same person. Alright, this is self-explanatory and it's one of the biggest things that people say about this whole thing. That being that all the accounts that I mentioned are all owned by 9. This is said because out of all the accounts, 9 is the only one that shows actual original clips and videos that are actually based in real life, that don't look AI or heavily edited. This is probably one of the more plausible theories as it's true that the Schoolboy9 account would feature a lot of original content. Another thing to point out is the erratic editing style, which 9 would do first out of all the other accounts, with all the other accounts doing the same not long after. Another thing to mention is that 9 would like and follow most of these accounts and even interacting with some of them. This being probably the most conclusive answer, which leads us to the second main theory. Theory 2, 9 is a PDF file. This is essentially what everyone believes for obvious reasons. That being that whoever runs this account or the people who run these accounts are
unless some sick people are mocking him with those accounts. We originally thought that, but at the same time, like, if you watch the full video once I upload it, you'll see why that's not the case. Nick Crowley and Nexpo did videos on this, and it goes into better cohesive explanation on why it's not the same.
Doing this as a ploy to groom children. I mean, a lot of stuff does point out to this, and which, bias aside, is the theory that I believe in the most. I mean, when you look at everything that 9 has posted in his schoolboy account, it just becomes very apparent that he's not mentally well and is pretty sick. For example, the many pictures with children, and some pictures even showing half-naked photos of kids. Like, none of that is normal. And just the way how 9 edits and contours facial features of these kids just isn't right. Not only that, but the weird little fixations 9 has and demonstrates in his account is also very concerning, such as the clear obsession with mini boots and dressing up as a school kid and being sticky. It's just so weird. No one ever talks about that. No one thinks that.
Trust me, as far as the corners, we have addressed it now. I promise you, there's so much that people have talked about.
Some other theories that are in the same vein of this, though, is that it's also presumed that Nine is allegedly a teacher who works for the school that, the uniform is based out of, or is an already known offender in the area that is now striking up other means to gain victims, in which we really don't know yet. Theory 3. This is the most malicious theory out of the bunch, that being that everyone related to this page and all the other pages are secretly trying to conduct the This is most
It might be that as well. It might be a ring, but this is the only dude that has really been prominently showing up.
backed up from the content of all the pages. This one could be plausible, but I'm not too sure about it. Theory 4. He's mentally ill. From what I've seen in these pages and the fixation of acting as a schoolboy,
I think the chase money glitch is stupid and people should not be doing fraud for clout.
And just Nine's weird appearance, a lot of people have also stuck to the idea that he's mentally ill, which could still be a factor in the other theories and rumors about this guy. This is mostly said due to, of course, him dressing up as a school kid and greatly exaggerating the faces of others to be more akin to him. Whether this is due to trauma or is some sort of cope, it's still a very weird and concerning way to go about it. With
Yeah, might be is not the word we want to use for this.
all that said, I hope I've enlightened you guys with some information about this that isn't mentioned as much and also gives.
Okay, so that's pretty much the end to the video. Um, yeah, no. If anything else comes up about this dude, just make sure not to contact him. Let the authorities do their job if they do their job. Don't pull a Mama Max. I got a 0 out of 100 on a test, but I might be stupid. Yeah. But, just be careful. If you do find more info, send it to the Yorkshire Police. Don't do anything stupid with that information. Don't interact. Don't obstruct the investigation. We don't want that. YouTube, if anybody watches this from YouTube, leave us your thoughts in the comments below if you want. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, obviously. The Discord is up. Feel free to join it. It is time for me to get some sleep. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'm out of here. Catch y'all later. Peace.